Chapter 507. Chapter 507 I've never minded idiots. Lin, he wouldn't let go of the grudge between him and Xiaolong no matter what, let alone Kong Ming. It had been set up so badly by Kong Ming that it would be a miracle if Lin, he didn't burn his house down. Lin, he had always been a vengeful person. If it weren't for the mission, Xiaolong wouldn't even be standing here talking. Xiaolong's face changed, turning ugly. Xinyan, on the other hand, snuck a peek at Lin Yi, a smile on her lips. It wasn't clear if it was praise or amusement. Lin Yi had always been curious about the relationship between Xinyan and Xiaolong. He thought that they were close, but it didn't seem to be the case now. Xinyan seemed to be mocking Wangba and Xiaolong, intentionally or otherwise. It made Lin Yi suspicious. Ahem. Qintian coughed. He'd finally managed to invite Lin Yi today, and he was planning to use this opportunity to expose his relationship with Xiao to Sun Jingyi. Naturally, he wouldn't let Xiaolong ruin it. Xiaolong took a deep breath, knowing that he couldn't do anything in front of Qintian. He could only sit back down, annoyed that Lin Yi didn't give him face. Today's supposed to be a happy day. Don't let those unhappiness spoil the mood. Qintian tried to smooth things over. Lin Yi bro, you and Xiao really are a perfect match. Lin Yi didn't say anything when Xiao spoke up happily. You think so too? Yeah, lil sis Xiao. When did you guys get together? Qintian asked without a change in expression. A few days, I think, Xiao said after some calculations. I see, Qintian realized. Could it be that Lin Yi broke up with Sun Jingyi and got together with Xiao? That would save him a lot of trouble. But just to be safe, he still wanted to reveal the relationship between Lin Yi and Xiao to Sun Jingyi. Lin Yi didn't say much, quietly observing Xiao and Qintian's every move. Lin Yi was a little confused about Xiao's attitude. She wasn't someone with that kind of personality, and she wouldn't be trying to get on Qintian's good side. According to his experience, Xiao was a very vengeful person. Otherwise, she wouldn't be looking for trouble with him over and over again. Xiao, on the other hand, had just started a feud with Qintian at the auction. How could she act like nothing had happened? Judging from the way she was ordering, she was probably trying to trick Qintian. Qintian's attitude, on the other hand, made Lin Yi suspicious. Lin Yi naturally wouldn't believe that Qintian was apologizing to him. Unless Qintian was out of his mind, there was no way he would take the initiative to treat him and apologize. There had to be something fishy about this. Lin Yi didn't know what the guy's intentions were yet, but since he was already here, he'd just wait and see. Needless to say, the service of the restaurant on the top floor was pretty good. Not long after they ordered, the waiter placed all the delicacies on the table. Other than the specialties Xiao had ordered, there were also abalone, lobster, and crab. Wow, I've never had such a sumptuous meal in my life. Xiao exclaimed like a country bumpkin. Eat more then. Qintian's vanity was greatly satisfied. He thought that Lin Yi was a far cry from him. He didn't know why Sun Jingyi liked Lin Yi. Looking at Xiao, Lin Yi probably hadn't even treated her to a sumptuous meal before, right? Yes, it must be because he didn't know how to act cool. He thought that Sun Jingyi was born in a rich family, so she must have seen everything, but it didn't seem to be the case now. As long as he kept acting cool in front of Sun Jingyi, she wouldn't have to worry about not liking him anymore. Then I won't hold back. Xiao brought the abalone in front of her and started eating with a fork, not caring about the others. After 2 mouthfuls, she praised, "This abalone is really delicious. It's my first time eating such a big abalone." That's nothing. Qintian waved his hand and said proudly, "This abalone is just something we eat casually at home. The abalones we eat during the New Year are much bigger than this. This is a single-headed abalone. The one we eat at home is a half abalone." What about a half abalone? Bro Qintian, you're amazing. You've eaten everything. Xiao praised. If that's the case, why don't you give me your share too? You'll get to eat it anyway. It's my first time eating it in my life. Sure, no problem. Qintian's heart skipped a beat, cursing himself for talking too much. How the hell was he supposed to eat it? This single-headed abalone was the best. It was good enough to eat a small piece during the new year. How could he eat it every day? But he'd already said it. How could he go back on his word? Chintian gritted his teeth and gave his abalone to Xiao Xiao. But in his heart, he comforted himself that what he was doing now was very pretentious. He'd just treat it as training, and he'd be able to practice it in front of Sun Jingyi in the future. Really? That's great. Man, these two aren't that much. I'm a little reluctant to eat them. Xiao Xiao might have said that, but the fork in her hand didn't stop stuffing food into her mouth. Xiao Xiao came with the intention of setting Chintian up. Who told him and his grandfather to treat her like that at the auction? Who else could she set up if not him? Besides, Xiao Xiao had never eaten such high-end food before. If she didn't eat her fill this time, she wouldn't even know if she'd be able to eat it before she died. So Xiao Xiao didn't care about her image at all. She just wanted to eat her fill first. This piece of trash is nothing in the eyes of us disciples of aristocratic families. Chintian continued to practice being pretentious. He realized that he was getting better and better at it. He didn't even blink when he talked big. He was very excited inside, but he kept his face calm. Wang Ba, don't you think so? Yeah, these seafood and whatnot are all normal in the eyes of us nobles. It's too bland. If we want to eat it, we usually eat crested ibis. Xiao family was one level lower than House Wu. How could they eat such high-end food? Even the old man of Xiao family didn't eat it more than a few times when he was alive. But in order to play along with Chintian, Xiao Wangba naturally talked big. Oh, what's crested ibis? Do you have it here? I want to eat it too, Xiao Xiao said, surprised. Chapter 508. Can you sponsor me? Ahem, crested ibis is a rare animal. Naturally, it can't be found here. This restaurant's too low class. Chintian glared at Wang Ba and coughed twice. I see. I'll just eat the abalone then. Xiao Xiao naturally wouldn't expose Chintian and Wang Ba. She said to Wang Ba bro, since you've eaten crested ibis, this abalone shouldn't be that rare. Can I have some too? Wang Ba was already drooling over the abalone, but since Chintian hadn't moved his chopsticks yet, he didn't want to. Xiao Xiao's words put him in a difficult position. What's wrong, Wang Ba bro? What's with that expression? You can't bear to give it to me? Xiao Xiao blinked innocently as she looked at Wang Ba. Of course not. He's just surprised that you're treating trash like treasure. Haha, right, Wang Ba? Chintian glared at Wang Ba again. Yes. Wang Ba's heart was bleeding, and he wanted to slap himself. How could he be so shameless? Wang Dao bro, you don't want it either? Give it to me? Xiao Xiao asked. Wang Ba was secretly glad that he didn't say anything, thinking that he'd be able to eat some later. He didn't think that Xiao Xiao would take the initiative to attack him. He was so pissed that he wanted to ask Xiao Xiao if she could eat it. But for Chintian's sake, he had to give it up. Of course, you can have it all, but you can't eat too much seafood. You'll get diarrhea? Oh, it's fine. Diarrhea is even better. I'll continue eating after that, Xiao Xiao said with a serious face. It'll just empty some space in my stomach. Lin, he almost couldn't hold it in. This Xiao Xiao was really something, daring to say anything. But thinking about how she even dared to go into the men's washroom, Lin, he didn't think it was strange at all. But seeing Xiao Xiao from a bystander's point of view made him feel that Xiao Xiao still had a cute side to her. Chintian lost his appetite all of a sudden as he looked at the delicacies on the table, feeling nauseated. He'd never eaten anything like this before, and even if he gave all the seafood to Xiao Xiao, he could at least try some of the signature dishes, right? But after what Xiao Xiao had done to him, he had to go to the bathroom and take a dump. How could he eat? Chintian was a little annoyed that he'd brought the Xiao family brothers out. What the hell were they, two idiots who couldn't do anything right? But on second thought, looking at it from another perspective, with these two idiots around, he could also train his ability to improvise and act cool. Adversity produces talent. This saying did make sense. You guys don't want to eat these lobsters, right? Then give it to me too. Xiao Xiao finished the 3 abalones in 2 or 3 bites, not knowing where they went. Even if seafood didn't take up much space, eating that much was enough. All right, I'll give them all to you. Eat slowly, Chintian said as he looked at Lenny. I say, old Lenny bro, it's not that I want to lecture you, but you treat your girlfriend too badly, don't you? How can you do that? Chintian was so excited that he forgot himself and went to show off in front of Lenny. It seemed like he'd gotten used to showing off, and he'd gotten used to it already. I'm poor, why don't you sponsor me? I'll treat her every day. Lin, he shrugged. Chintian realized that he was acting in the wrong place. How could he say something like that to Lenny? He regretted it immediately. Was he an idiot? I'll sponsor you? What does it have to do with me, whether you treat me or not? But Chintian could only say, it's fine. Let's eat together more often in the future. Xiao Xiao, on the other hand, didn't care. She ate whatever was good, her mouth glistening with oil. She didn't even wait for the red wine to arrive, and she'd already eaten 2 crabs, 3 lobsters, and 3 abalones. This speed was simply shocking. It took a while for the red wine to be served, but half of the seafood was gone. Chintian wanted to cry, but no tears came out. Red wine was supposed to go with seafood, and now that the seafood was gone, what was the point of drinking? When the waiter poured the red wine for everyone, Chintian raised his glass. Lenny, come, I'll toast you in Xiao Xiao. I wish you two a lifetime of happiness. Oh, okay. Wait, I'll finish this crab claw. Xiao Xiao quickly finished the crab claw before raising her glass. Lenny saw Chintian give Wangba a look, and Wangba took out his phone and pointed it at him in Xiao Xiao. Only then did Lin Yi understand Chintian's intentions. So this guy wanted to take a picture of him and Xiao Xiao together? Lenny found it funny. Chintian must have wanted to take a picture for Sun Jingyi to see, so that Sun Jingyi could see his face clearly. What he didn't know was that there was nothing going on between him and Sun Jingyi. That boyfriend from before was just an impersonation. This guy even treated her to a big meal. If he knew the truth, he'd probably cry, wouldn't he? After knowing Chintian's intentions, Lin Yi just acted casually. After a few glasses of red wine, he felt his phone vibrate in his pocket. It was a message. Lin Yi took out his phone and looked at it. To his surprise, it was a message from Xinyan. They want to take a picture of you in Xiao Xiao. After reading the message, Lin Yi looked at Xinyan's direction, surprised. He didn't think that Xinyan would tip him off. Whose side was she on? However, Xinyan didn't look at Lin Yi's direction. She just sat there quietly, not eating, as if all this had nothing to do with her. Lin Yi smiled faintly. It seemed like Xinyan had a complicated relationship with Xiaolong and Chintian. He wrote a message back. I know. Why are you with them? After sending the message, Xinyan didn't look at her phone immediately. She waited for a while before looking at her phone. She quickly typed on the keyboard and put her phone away. Lin Yi's phone vibrated. This time, he followed Xinyan's example and took out his phone after a while. It was a message from Xinyan. My family wants me to get engaged to Kong Xiaolong. Lin Yi couldn't help but frown after reading Xinyan's message. Getting engaged to Xiaolong? To be honest, Lin Yi didn't want Xinyan to get too close to the Kangs. Chapter 509. I need to pack after some hesitation. Lin Yi sent a text to Xinyan. Don't get too close to House Kong. They're done for. Xinyan read Lin Yi's text, her mouth forming an O shape. She couldn't believe that Lin Yi would warn her so bluntly. House Kong was done for? How could House Kong be done for? Xinyan didn't like House Kong, but she could see that House Kong was on the rise. She didn't understand why House Kong would be done for all of a sudden. Could it be that this had something to do with Lin Yi? Xinyan's heart tightened at the thought, her chest pounding like a deer. Was Lin Yi telling her this because he trusted her? Wasn't he afraid that she'd tell Xiaolong? Or is he doing this just for her? Could he tell that she wasn't happy with the marriage? Or was it because of her? Xinyan blushed as she took a deep breath. She looked around cautiously, realizing that Xiaolong wasn't paying attention to her. Xiaolong was busy taking pictures of Lin Yi and Xiao Xiao in order to please Chintian. Everyone at the table had their phones in their hands, and so it wasn't out of place for Xinyan and Lin Yi to take out their phones as well. I don't like him, don't mess around. Xinyan hesitated before sending a text to Lin Yi. She regretted it after sending it. Wasn't what she said a little too flirtatious? She didn't want Lin Yi to get into trouble, but it seemed like she was trying to clarify something with Lin Yi. Lin Yi smiled after reading the text. Don't worry, I don't have time to deal with him if he doesn't mess with me. Xin Yan let out a sigh of relief when she read Lin Yi's message, but she was also a little surprised. Lin Yi's tone was pretty cocky, and that made Xin Yan even more curious. Just who was Lin Yi? From the first time she met him on the train, to the second time they met on the commercial street, to the time they took a plane together a few days ago, and now they were eating at the same table. Lin, he seemed to play a different role every time. Bro Ching Tian, they called you House Iron Fist Wu. What's that about? Xiao Xiao suddenly remembered Iron Fist Wu after eating for a while and asked curiously. Qin Qian's mood brightened upon hearing Xiao Xiao's question. It seemed that this meal was indeed worth it. This Xiao Xiao was really a good person, understanding. He was just worried that he didn't have a place to practice showing off. Now, he had a chance to show off. However, Chun Tian didn't want to practice the normal methods of showing off anymore. He wanted to challenge a higher realm. And so, Chun Tian glanced at Wang Ba, signaling him to act cool with him. One had to know that a successful, pretentious person couldn't do it alone. He needed the cooperation of others in order to be able to show off his skills and level. Wang Ba understood immediately and said to Xiao Xiao, "You don't know, do you? Bro Ching Tian's family is an ancient martial arts family, and the martial arts they practice is called Iron Fist Arts. It's quite powerful, and he can crush iron with one hand. Wow, that's amazing." Xiao Xiao's eyes widened. Isn't that Superman? What's so great about Superman? Compared to Bro Ching Tian, he's just a piece of trash. Wang Ba said. Then, Bro Ching Tian, can you show me? Let me see your heroism. Xiao Xiao said excitedly. There's a vase here. Why don't you crush it for me? With that, Xiao Xiao pointed at the golden vase with diamonds on it on the table. What? This? Qin Tian froze. This golden vase seemed to be worth a lot of money. He would have to pay for it if he crushed it. Would he? Isn't this thing too expensive? It's my fault. Why don't we find something cheaper to crush? Xiao Xiao said, a little embarrassed. Expensive? What's so expensive about it? This gold is too soft. I'm afraid I can't show off my true strength. Qin Tian waved his hand and said nonchalantly, Wow, so that's how it is. Then hurry up and crush it. Let me see it. Xiao Xiao nodded. I knew it. Bro Ching Tian is from a first-rate house, so he must be super rich. Why would he care about a broken vase? That's right. Qin Tian grabbed the vase on the table and squeezed it hard. The vase immediately deflated, and the diamonds on it fell. Wow, 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 that's so cool. Xiao Xiao clapped and cheered. Bro Ching Tian, you're so cool. You're the most manly man in the world. I guess so. Qin Tian was very pleased with himself. Only now did he realize how great it was to act cool. Not only was his vanity greatly satisfied, but it was also good at picking up girls. Bro Ching Tian, can you give this vase to me as a souvenir? Whenever I see this vase, I'll be reminded of your bravery. Xiao Xiao said expectantly. No problem. Qin Tian passed the vase to Xiao Xiao. Xiao Xiao put it away excitedly, along with the diamonds that had fallen from the top. Wang Ba wanted to say something, but seeing Qin Tian's nonchalant face, he didn't say anything more. Thank you, Bro Ching Tian. Bro Ching Tian, I'm sure any girl would fall in love with your iron fist. If I didn't already have a boyfriend, I want to leave with you. Xiao Xiao said excitedly, her face red. Qin Tian's heart skipped a beat. He almost said, It's fine if you have a boyfriend. You can stay with me tonight. But then he remembered that Xiao Xiao was Lin Yi's girlfriend. If he brought her back, not only would Tianlong not let him go, but he'd also have problems pursuing Sun Jingyi. He quickly gave up on the idea. But he said proudly, it's not bad. I didn't use it easily before, so not many girls like me. Bro Ching Tian, you're too humble. Xiao Xiao praised him and continued to finish the food on the table. She could eat quite a lot after talking for a while. Half an hour later, Phew, I'm full. Xiao Xiao put the knife, fork, and chopsticks on the table and let out a long breath. She rubbed her stomach. It's too delicious. Can I take it home? Wah. Qin Tian thought to himself. We haven't even eaten yet, and you want to take it home? But thinking about it, he achieved his goal today. Not only did he learn how to act cool, but he also managed to get a picture of Lin, Yi, and Xiao Xiao. It was quite rewarding. Chapter 510. Fainting after packing Xiao Xiao's bag, Chun Tian went to pay the bill. He was shocked when he saw the bill. How? How much is this? Chun Tian's eyes widened as he looked at the bill in disbelief. Sir, you spent a total of 15,037,000. You could take the rest as a discount. It'll be 15 million, the waiter said with a smile. 15 million? Chun Tian couldn't believe that he had spent 5 million on a single meal, but when he looked at the bill, the signature dishes were all at least 10,000, and the expensive ones were as high as 300,000 to 400,000. The single-head abalone wasn't cheap either, and the cheapest one was probably the 1982 law fight he ordered. However, Chun Tian was still confused after looking at the menu. Did you guys make a mistake? It's only a little more than 5 million. How come it's 10 million? Sir, the vase on the table has been crushed by you. The value of the vase is 10 million, the waiter explained unhurriedly. Wah, 10 million for a vase? Chun Tian jumped. Yes, sir. There are 6 4-carat diamonds embedded on the vase, and it's made of pure gold. The 10 million is only half of the cost, the waiter said with a smile. We have a certificate from an authoritative organization. Would you like to take a look, sir? Chun Tian wanted to cry. Wasn't this a little too much? But he knew that a high-class place like this wouldn't purposely rip him off. It was whatever they said it was. Moreover, the price of a 4-carat diamond was probably more than 1 million yuan. So the price of 6 4-carat diamonds, plus the gold vase, was really not expensive at all. But he'd broken it and given it to Xiao Xiao. He was about to go crazy. The cost of showing off was way too high. It seemed like he shouldn't act so casually in the future. Chun Tian saw Lin, Yi, Xiao Xiao, the Xiao family brothers, and Xiaolong walking over. He put away his pain expression and purposely raised his voice. We didn't eat much. We only spent 15 million on these things. This shop is really cheap, really cheap. The Xiao family's brothers were stunned. They thought to themselves that the Wu family was indeed different from their own family. The Wu family spent 15 million for a meal, and they even complained that it was too little. They were indeed extraordinary. Ah, bro Chun Tian, you're so rich. Xiao Xiao praised. A lot of people can't even earn 15 million in their entire lifetimes, and you're spending 15 million on one meal, and you think it's not a lot? You're so cool. That's right. This amount of money is nothing in the eyes of us aristocratic families. Chun Tian was used to showing off now, and he was always showing off, so the words just came out of his mouth. Then I'll get a braised shark fin for takeaway, okay? I wanted to order it, but I didn't want to spend too much money. Xiao Xiao looked at Chun Tian pitifully. I really want to try shark fin. Ugh. Okay, no problem. Chun Tian sweated. His family wasn't like the other aristocratic families. House Wu's annual income was only a few tens of millions, with hundreds of millions during good times, and they needed to support the entire Wu family's expenses. As a result, the pocket money of the younger generation was only a few 100,000 a year, and he'd spent 15 million on one meal. If his grandpa, Wu Gonggao, found out, he'd be furious. But if he didn't tell his grandpa, he really wouldn't have the money. But that was secondary. He first ordered a shark fin for Xiao Xiao and sent her away. Only then did he stand in front of the bar with a frown on his face, trying to think of a solution. The Xiao family's brothers were sent downstairs by Chun Tian, and he hesitantly called his grandpa. Hello, Grandpa, it's me, Chun Tian. Chun Tian said carefully. What is it? I'm busy right now, spit it out. Gong Gao had a stomach full of anger from Tian Long, and he had no place to vent it. Of course, this wasn't much. He went to his son-in-law, Liu Tianyi, to see if he could get the pill of life extension and toxin cleansing from him. But he didn't expect his son-in-law to insist that it was for Zhenhu's treatment, and that he couldn't give it to him. This made him feel bad and embarrassed. And so, even his favorite grandson calling him didn't put him in a good mood. Grandpa, I'm eating at a restaurant, and I don't have enough money, Chun Tian said weakly. Why the hell would you go eat if you don't have enough money? What were you thinking before you went? Gong Gao humphed. Didn't you bring your credit card? You can't use it there? No. The credit card has a limit, and it's not enough. Chen Tian said guiltily. Not enough? How much money did you spend? I thought the credit card had a limit of 200,000. Gong Gao's voice went up an octave. 1,000. 1,000. Chen Tian was a little scared. This was the first time his grandpa had gotten so angry at him. 1,000? You can't even swipe 1,000 on your credit card? How do you spend your money normally? Gong Gao raged. This Chen Tian had maxed out his credit card. No, it's not 1,000. Chen Tian was a little scared. His grandpa was already so pissed off with 200,000. If he told him he'd spent 15 million, he'd be furious. How much is it if it's not 1,000? Gong Gao humphed. You're not embarrassed enough, kid. You ate 1,000, and you don't even have money to pay. You're a disgrace to our Wu house. It's 15 million, Grandpa. I spent 15 million. Chen Tian gritted his teeth. There was no point in dragging this out. What? What did you say? Gong Gao couldn't react to Chen Tian's words. How much did you say you spent? 15 million. Chen Tian repeated. Gong Gao went silent on the other side of the phone. Grandpa, Grandpa? Chen Tian called out in confusion, but there was no reply. He hadn't even called out twice when there was some noise on the other side, followed by Lu Tiany's voice. Dad, what's wrong? Why did you faint all of a sudden? Chen Tian jumped in fright. Grandpa fainted? He quickly yelled into the phone. Grandpa, Grandpa. But there was nothing but noise on the other side of the phone. Chen Tian hung up helplessly, looking at the waiter anxiously. Can I owe it first? I didn't bring any money, and my grandpa fainted. I have to go back. Chapter 511. Chapter 511. Kong Xiaolong's Devious Thoughts. I'm Wu Qintian from House Wu of Iron Fist. I want to owe you money. This is my ID card. I can pawn it here. I really have something urgent to do, Qintian said gloomily. He didn't think that not only would he not get his money back, but his grandpa had even fainted from anger. He didn't know how his grandpa was doing. He wanted to go and check on him, but the waiter wouldn't let him go. This made him anxious. I've heard of House Wu of Iron Fist, but there's no proof that you're from House Wu. Even if you are, don't you have a bank card? Why don't you call someone to send the money over? The waiter said calmly. Qintian was speechless. Although the waiter was polite, it was obvious that he didn't believe that he was from House Wu. But Qintian couldn't argue with him. After all, he did owe the money. It was normal for them to suspect him. Just when he was at a loss, a figure walked over quickly and asked in a low voice, Bro Qintian, what's wrong? Did you run into some trouble? It was Xiaolong. He had been paying attention to Qintian. Although he didn't say much during the banquet, Xiaolong had the intention to befriend House Wu. With his age, it was impossible for him to befriend Wu Gong, but he could befriend Qintian. When he saw Qintian paying the bill and didn't leave for a long time, he thought that Qintian might have run into some trouble. He sent the Xiao family brothers away with Xin Yan and came back. Compared to hitting on girls, befriending House Wu was more important. Xiaolong was a man with a dark personality. He could control his desires at all times and put the interests of himself and House Wu first. I left in a hurry and didn't bring any money with me. I ran into some trouble when I was paying the bill. I was thinking of getting a follower to send me the money. Qintian naturally wouldn't admit that he didn't have money in front of Xiaolong. He was used to being arrogant. Is that so? Then why did you call me? Xiaolong smiled. I'm your follower, right? Bro Qintian, I'll pay for you. Qintian didn't expect Xiaolong to say that. He was a little excited as he patted Xiaolong's shoulder. All right, good bro. You'll be following me from now onwards. Don't worry. I said I'd treat you to dinner. How could I let you pay for it? But help me pay for it first. I'll give it to you when we get back. Sure. This little bit of money doesn't matter. Xiaolong could tell that this Qintian wasn't much older than him, but he was just a spoiled kid. He didn't know how to control himself at all, and his personality was filled with arrogance. If he wasn't from the Iron Fist Wu family, he would be an idiot. This type of person was the easiest to make friends with. Xiaolong smiled as he found a direction. How much in total? Sir, the total is 15 million yuan. When the waiter saw that someone had come to pay the bill, he immediately felt relieved, but he still said respectfully, Quack, how much? Xiaolong paused as he looked at the waiter with a weird expression. He thought that Chuntian didn't bring any money, but he didn't think that it was because Chuntian couldn't pay the bill. But now, it seemed that Chuntian couldn't pay the bill. "Sir, the total is 15 million yuan." The waiter repeated, but he had some doubts in his heart. These people were dressed well, and they looked like rich people, but they couldn't be pretending, right? Were they here to scam people? "All right, I'll pay with my card." Xiaolong gritted his teeth and took out his bank card, handing it to the waiter. As the leader of the third generation of House Kong, Xiaolong naturally didn't lack money, especially since he was in charge of House Kang's medical lab. He had 20 million research funds a year, but spending 15 million in one go was a pain in his heart. But when he thought about the profits that this investment would bring, it was worth it. At the very least, he could get in touch with House Wu. The waiter sighed in relief when he saw Xiaolong hand out his card. He politely took the card, swiped it, and returned it to Xiaolong. "Sir, please accept the receipt and invoice." "All right." Xiaolong took back his card and looked at the bill. His face twitched twice. It was one thing to say that the 15 million was for the food, but it was clearly written on the bill that there was 10 million as compensation for the damage to the vase. Wasn't this Chintian too wasteful? He spent 10 million just for a random pinch? This price was simply too high. Xiaolong put away the bill and pretended like nothing was wrong as he went downstairs with Chintian. Chintian said gratefully, "Xiaolong, you've really solved my problem. Those two from Xiao family are just too unreliable. This won't do." "Haha, they're my relatives now, so I won't say much," Xiaolong said with a smile. "Yeah, your two families are in-laws now." Chintian nodded. "No matter what, I'll accept you as my follower. If you need anything in the future, just say the word. We, House Wu, will support House Kong." "Thank you so much," Xiaolong said with a smile, but in his mind he had a plan that would make House Kong soar. If House Kong could get the recipe for the pill of life extension and toxin cleansing before the auction, even if it was just a small amount, it would be a bargaining chip for House Kong to become a noble house. Once they became a noble house, they'd be able to interact with people of a higher level than this. They'd be able to get in touch with the hidden houses behind House Yu, and if they got on their good side, they'd probably send a guard to teach them martial arts. House Kong would become a martial arts house as well, and if a golden class late phase or even a mystic class master were to appear, no one would be able to shake House Kang's position. Be it Dr. Kong, Kong Guifeng, or Xiaolong, they all knew that a family that relied on wealth alone was too easy to fall. Take the Xiao family, for example. Although they hadn't been stripped of their noble house status yet, they were practically dead. Chapter 512. Extreme joy begets sorrow, but the failure of the pill of life extension and toxin cleansing shattered House Kang's fantasies. They could only try to form a relationship with House Xiao and slowly rise to the ranks of a low-tier house. But it was impossible to form a good relationship with House Yu or even the hidden house behind House Yu. Now, Chinqian's appearance made Xiaolong think again. If he applied to become a noble house after the auction, with House Wu's help, would it work? Of course, this was just Xiaolong's thoughts. He wouldn't reveal it to Qintian right now. He needed to discuss it with his grandpa first before making a decision. All he needed to do now was to get closer to Qintian. "What are you thanking me for?" "You're my follower, of course. I'll protect you," Qintian said. "Hee. Then I'll be counting on you from now on, boss. Don't bother me." Xiaolong smiled. "That's for sure." Qintian felt that Xiaolong was really smart. He was much smarter than the two Xiao family brats. The two of them parted at the hotel. Xiaolong wanted to go back and discuss the application with his grandpa, while Qintian wanted to see how his grandpa was doing. Both of them had things to do, so they decided to contact each other on the phone. Lin, Yi, and Xiao Xiao left the restaurant. When the Xiao family brothers left, Xiao Xiao couldn't hold it in anymore and started laughing. "Ha ha 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 ha. I'm dying of laughter. That Wu Qintian is really an idiot. He's still pretending. He's too stupid. Ha ha." Xiao Xiao clutched her stomach and squatted on the floor, laughing so hard that she couldn't catch her breath. "I've earned big this time. The vase and candlesticks on the table are worth at least a few million. I'll sell them and buying Audi R8. Ha 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 ha. I'm dying of laughter. Lin, he looked at Xiao Xiao, who was laughing so hard that she was gasping for breath. He couldn't help but find it funny. Qin Tian must have suffered a lot during this meal, and he didn't even know it. This Xiao Xiao was quite the scammer. Umph. How dare you go against me, Xiao Xiao? You've already gotten off lightly this time, but next time, I'll make you bankrupt. Xiao Xiao said to herself. Lin, he shook his head. This Xiao Xiao really did hold a grudge. No wonder she kept trying to do something to him. It was just that she didn't get anything out of him. But Lin, he started to understand Xiao Xiao a little. Growing up in a family like hers, she didn't have a mother, and her father was always busy with work. He didn't have time to take care of Xiao Xiao's life, and that was why she was rebellious. Although Xiao Xiao had a part to do with herself, the main reason was her family environment. Are you done laughing? Is your father back yet? Linny waited for a while, but Xiao Xiao was still laughing. Linny couldn't help but ask, Ha ha! Seriously, you're pulling a long face at something this funny. Xiao Xiao couldn't stop laughing, almost unable to stop herself. There's nothing funny. He's not the only idiot in the world. If you laughed at every one of them for a while, you die a long time ago. Lin, he said faintly. Ah, Xiao Xiao paused, shaking her head. She sometimes wondered if Lin, he was the same age as her. No matter how she looked at him, Lin, he didn't seem like someone her age. Sometimes he was terrifyingly calm. She couldn't help but curl her lips. You're so boring. Why aren't you laughing with me at something this funny? I think your name is right. Why aren't you laughing at something this funny? Lin, he shrugged. HM? Xiao Xiao paused. She remembered that her name was Xiao Xiao. Was Lin, he praising or mocking her? Ha! All right, I'll laugh. Where's your father? Lin, he was concerned about Tianlong. As far as he was concerned, an idiot like Chun Tian deserved to get screwed over. There was nothing funny about it. What's wrong with that? Xiao Xiao wasn't happy. She humphed. My dad's coming back tonight. Let's go. We'll wait for him in our room. Go back to your room. Lin frowned. Yeah, where else? Xiao Xiao just wanted to spend more time with Lin and create a chance for Lin to fall in love with her. She didn't think too much about it, but Lin Yi's question made her a little uncomfortable. A man and a woman alone in a room. Xiao Xiao had never experienced something like this before. What if Lin Yi's animal instincts kicked in? He seemed pretty strong, and she wasn't his match. But thinking about it, so what if he kicked in? At most, he'd just do it to her. She didn't have long to live anyway, and she didn't know what it felt like. But wouldn't that be a huge loss for her? That didn't seem to be the case. Looking at how uninterested Lin Yi was, he probably wouldn't push her down. Xiao Xiao was a little disappointed at the thought. Was her charm really that small? Let's go then. Lin Yi nodded, seeing that Xiao Xiao's expression was normal. In truth, if it weren't for Tianlong looking for him, he wouldn't have gone to Xiao Xiao's room in the middle of the night. Ah, let's go. Xiao Xiao picked up the food boxes in her hands and started laughing again when she thought of Qin Tian's dumb face. Lin, he was a little speechless. This Xiao Xiao seemed to be born to be funny. Even the smallest things couldn't stop laughing. Xiao Xiao laughed as they walked, and she didn't stop laughing even when they entered the hotel. People who didn't know would think that she picked up money. In fact, that vase could be sold for a lot of money. Just thinking about it made Xiao Xiao happy. She picked up a few million for no reason. She wasn't someone who didn't know what was good for her. She could roughly estimate the value of that diamond. Ha ha ha. Xiao Xiao started laughing again when she thought about it. But there was a saying, extreme joy turns to sorrow. And so, Xiao Xiao's joy turned to sorrow. The hotel's marble stairs had just been cleaned, and there were still water stains on it. It was quite slippery, and Xiao Xiao was swaying left and right. She slipped and fell. Ah! Xiao Xiao cried out as she slid down the stairs. Not only did she land on her, but she also got wet all over. It was really uncomfortable. Huh. Lin, he finally laughed. He didn't know what to say as he looked at Xiao Xiao. Lin, he could totally pull Xiao Xiao back, but he didn't. The stairs weren't high, and it would only hurt her but a little. She'd get a little dirty, but it wouldn't be a big deal. It was good to teach her a lesson. She wouldn't be laughing all the time. Chapter 513. Chapter 513. Don't peek, Lin. He walked over and pulled Xiao Xiao up. Xiao Xiao knew that Lin Yi was strong, but she didn't think that Lin Yi would be able to pull her up in a situation like this. She didn't blame Lin Yi. Xiao Xiao looked at the food in her hands and was pleasantly surprised. High-class hotels, sure, are different. The food is sealed and nothing spilled. Otherwise, it'd be a huge loss. A sealed box like this costs a couple of kwai. Huh. Lin Yi was once again amused by Xiao Xiao's behavior. She was about to fall to the ground, yet she was still worried about the food in her hands. You've never eaten good food like this before? Lin Yi had always thought that Xiao Xiao's family was rich, and Tianlong's salary wasn't low either. Lin Yi's mission was worth hundreds of millions, so Tianlong's salary should be quite high too, right? Of course not, Xiao Xiao said, reminiscing. It's my first time eating something this good. Other than instant noodles, I'm always at the cafeteria. Didn't you notice? I noticed, but I thought you were trying to get close to me on purpose. Lin Yi really did think so. I bought that Audi TT after I saved up my pocket money for several years. My monthly allowance is 10,000. Xiao Xiao curled her lips. 10,000 was a lot for normal people, but it was nothing compared to Meng Yao and Yushu. Wu Qintian is an idiot, but that Kong Xiaolong isn't an idiot. The rest of the wuss aren't idiots either. You'll probably only eat this once. You'll be lucky if he doesn't cause you trouble in the future. Lin Yi reminded her because she was Tianlong's daughter. Are you worried about me? Xiao Xiao blinked. Could it be that Lin Yi was starting to like her? Lin Yi didn't say anything and went upstairs. The first floor was the lobby, and the elevator was on the second floor. Hey, wait for me. Xiao Xiao ran after him, limping. On my butt. Xiao Xiao's room was on the third floor, an economical room. The lower the floor, the cheaper it was. Xiao Xiao took out her room card and opened the door, a little unhappy. Why are you leaving so fast? Can you come in without me? Lin Yi didn't bother with her. He was here for Feng Tianlong, and there were some things he needed to make clear. Take a seat first. I'm going to take a shower. Xiao Xiao's body was wet, and although it wasn't dirty water, it was still water from the ground. Xiao Xiao was a girl, and naturally, she couldn't stand it. Shower? Lin Yi paused, looking at Xiao Xiao in disbelief. Wasn't this girl a little too daring? He actually wanted to take a bath? Is he trying to seduce me? Looking at Lin Yi's shocked face, Xiao Xiao immediately guessed what Lin Yi was thinking. She couldn't help but blush. What the hell are you thinking? My body is dirty. It's very uncomfortable. I'm not thinking too much. Lin Yi found a little funny. It seemed that he was indeed thinking too much, but he wouldn't admit it. Hey, don't peek. Xiao Xiao glared at Lin Yi and went to the washroom. Lin Yi naturally wouldn't peek. Xiao Xiao was pretty, but Lin Yi couldn't accept this kind of rebellious personality. This girl was too ferocious. She was even better at messing with people than Yushu, and even crueler than Yushu. But Xiao Xiao's last words made people's imaginations run wild. After all, Lin Yi had heard of the story of worse than an animal. Lin Yi sat on the sofa casually and called Tang Yin. It was still the same off tone. It seemed that Tang Yin didn't turn her phone on. Lin Yi sighed. He didn't know why Tang Yin was mad. Didn't he just stand her up once? But he did have something to do today. Something happened to Fun early in the morning, and he had to take a plane to Yanjing. He didn't even have time to breathe. It was impossible to see Tang Yin even if he wanted to. Hearing the sound of water coming from the washroom, Lin Yi felt an itch in his heart for the first time. He couldn't help but find it funny. Why would he be interested in Xiao Xiao showering? But he had to admit that Xiao Xiao was really pretty. If it weren't for her weird personality, she might have a lot of suitors. And Lin Yi's thoughts were just a normal physiological reaction. He shook his head and tossed the unrealistic thoughts aside. Xiao Xiao was a little nervous in the washroom. She was dirty and uncomfortable, so it was normal for her to want to shower. But now that she was in the washroom, she felt a little unnatural. Thinking that Lin Yi was still outside, she got even more nervous. Lin Yi wouldn't break in, would he? Thinking about Lin Yi's skills, this washroom lock really couldn't stop Lin Yi. Plus, Xiao Xiao was conflicted. On one hand, she was afraid of Lin Yi breaking in, but on the other hand, she was competitive. She was a beauty, after all. So why was Lin Yi so uninterested in her? If he wasn't interested in her at all, how was she going to pursue him? How was she going to take revenge? With that thought, Xiao Xiao gritted her teeth. You can't trap a wolf if you don't give up your child, and you can't trap a pervert if you don't give up your body. And so, Xiao Xiao closed the washroom door, but didn't lock it from the inside. If Linny broke in, she'd give him some benefits. Let his eyes take advantage of her. Let him see some visible parts. As long as she didn't really let him take advantage of her, it'd be fine. Yes, it was written in the book. This kind of hazy feeling was even more attractive to men. With her worries set aside, Xiao Xiao took a shower. She had to admit, having a hot shower after eating and drinking was really enjoyable. Xiao Xiao started humming as she applied the lotion on her body. La 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 la. I love showering. The turtle falls. Xiao Xiao was feeling pleased with herself when a chill spread through her body. She didn't notice it at first, thinking that it was because the weather was cold and she didn't have any clothes on. But then, she realized that it wasn't the case. So uncomfortable. Xiao Xiao felt a little dizzy, and she almost couldn't stand straight. She quickly turned off the hot shower, letting the steam out so she could breathe, but the cold and suffocating feeling was getting stronger and stronger. Phew, so uncomfortable. Xiao Xiao moaned, suddenly remembering her body's taboo. She couldn't eat too much seafood. Too much seafood could cause the sickness in her body to act up, and if it was serious, she could lose her life. Chapter 514. Xiao Xiao's illness was acting up, but it was too late for regrets now. She'd already eaten it. The sad thing was that she was so happy at the time, thinking that she'd taken advantage of her. Xiao Xiao breathed heavily, feeling like she'd fallen into an ice house, but she didn't dare turn on the hot water. She was already having a hard time breathing, and if there was steam, she'd probably suffocate to death. Help! It's so uncomfortable, I'm dying. Xiao Xiao tried her best to scream, but her body was too weak, and her voice was pitifully small. But even if it was small, Lin Yi could still hear it. In fact, Lin Yi heard it from the first moan. A golden class late phase was no joke, and Lin Yi was stronger than a normal golden class late phase. But Lin Yi didn't think much of it. He thought that Xiao Xiao was trying to seduce him. Although Lin Yi didn't think that Xiao Xiao was the kind of girl who would do anything when she went crazy, Lin Yi didn't take it seriously. Xiao Xiao's cry for help was heard by Lin Yi, but Lin Yi didn't believe her. This girl had too many ideas. Who knew if it was real or not? What if she accused him of molesting her and took a picture of it after he entered the washroom? He wouldn't be able to explain himself then. Lin, I'm dying. Help! Xiao Xiao started to despair when she didn't see Lin Yi. She was acting up in the washroom, and no one knew. She wouldn't even know how she died. How pitiful. Xiao Xiao knew that she didn't have long to live, but she didn't want to die. Living one more day was one more day. Who would want to die so early? She tried to crawl towards the washroom door, wanting to crawl out. Phew! Xiao Xiao tried to push open the washroom door, but it wasn't locked. If she didn't press down on the door handle, it wouldn't be that easy to open. Xiao Xiao was really in despair now. She didn't want to die. She hadn't lived long enough. There were still many things that he had not done. How could he die just like that? Originally, she had planned to travel around the world before she died. Furthermore, she had never even had a boyfriend before, so she didn't know what it was like to be in love. She didn't want to die. That was Xiao Xiao's last thought before she fainted beside the bathroom door. At first, Lin Yi didn't think much of Xiao Xiao's cries, but after a while, there was no sound coming from the washroom. Lin Yi couldn't help but wonder. Logically speaking, shouldn't Xiao Xiao have come out of the washroom after failing to trick him? There was no sound of water anymore, which meant that Xiao Xiao had finished showering. But why wasn't she out yet? Could it be Lin Yi frowned? Did something really happen to Xiao Xiao? Lin Yi wasn't the type of person who liked to stick his nose into other people's business, but he couldn't just ignore it. He was familiar with Xiao Xiao. At least they were desk mates. She was also Tianlong's daughter, and if something happened to her while they were together, wouldn't Tianlong curse him to death? Lin Yi smiled bitterly as he stood up and tiptoed to the washroom door, listening to the sounds inside. Although Lin Yi could hear it from outside, Lin Yi wanted to hear it more clearly. Xiao Xiao wasn't a master, and she hadn't been trained. Even if she pretended not to make sound, she couldn't be as silent as those trained people. Lin Yi, on the other hand, didn't hear anything at all. He felt that something wasn't right. After some hesitation, Lin Yi put his hand on the door handle. But what surprised Lin Yi was that the washroom wasn't locked. Lin Yi easily opened the door, but what happened next made Lin Yi jump. Xiao Xiao was naked, lying on the floor of the washroom, not moving at all. Xiao Xiao. Lin Yi tried calling. There was no response. At this point, he was completely sure that something had happened to Xiao Xiao. From the looks of it, there was no way she could take pictures or threaten him with something like that. After confirming that there was something wrong with Xiao Xiao, Lin Yi quickly crouched down, not looking around as he grabbed Xiao Xiao's wrist. He couldn't help but fall into deep thought. There was nothing wrong with Xiao Xiao's body. All her bodily functions were normal, but there was a lack of life. This surprised Lin Yi. Life was a very strange thing. According to modern medicine, there was no such thing as life. As long as there were no problems with the organs, it meant that the person was fine. But Lin Yi could feel everyone's life force. People who hadn't trained before would have weaker life force than those who had. For example, Golden Class Masters had stronger life force than normal people. Mystic Class Masters had stronger life force than Golden Class Masters. And this life force, in Jiao Yazi's words, was a type of energy, and he used this type of energy to determine a person's strength level. Jiao Lao, what's going on? Lin Yi was a miracle doctor under old Lin's tutelage, but he had never seen Xiao Xiao in such a strange condition. I don't know. Jiao Yazi couldn't answer Lin Yi's question for the first time, but people with weak bodies have weak energy too. Lin Yi was panicking, and he couldn't just let Xiao Xiao lie on the ground like this. Lin Yi picked her up, but because his mind was occupied, he didn't pay attention to where his hands were, and his right hand touched something soft. Wah! Lin Yi blinked and realized where he touched. It was a girl's chest. Lin Yi's heart skipped a beat, and he almost threw Xiao Xiao away. He'd touched Yushu before, but it was through clothes, so it wasn't direct contact. All this time, Lin Yi thought that the first girl he touched would be Tang Yin, but it was Xiao Xiao. Lin Yi was usually calm, but he couldn't stay calm at this moment. He was very excited. Although, from a relationship perspective, Lin Yi didn't like Xiao Xiao, but this reaction had nothing to do with feelings. Lin Yi wanted to let go, but he didn't want to. The hand holding Xiao Xiao was shaking. He turned around excitedly, but Lin Yi's arms scratched the lock on the door, and blood flowed out. Chapter 5:15. Level Drop. Lin Yi took a deep breath and hugged Xiao Xiao tighter. He ignored the softness in his arms and rushed into the room. Xiao Xiao was unconscious right now. What if she died if he didn't take care of it? In the past, Lin Yi wouldn't ignore Xiao Xiao, but he definitely wouldn't worry about it. But after knowing that Xiao Xiao was Tianlong's daughter, Lin Yi couldn't help but pay more attention to Xiao Xiao. After putting Xiao Xiao on the bed, Lin Yi frowned. Although Lin Yi was called a miracle doctor, Lin Yi knew that there was still a gap between his and the old man's medical skills, but not by much. But Xiao Xiao's condition was something that Lin Yi had never heard of before. At this moment, Lin Yi couldn't tell what was wrong with Xiao Xiao at all. If Lin Yi didn't know about the symptoms after a person fainted, he would have thought that Xiao Xiao was pretending to be unconscious to trick him. Of course, with Xiao Xiao's personality, she would have done something like this to trick Lin Yi. But Lin Yi found out from Lin Yi's examination that this wasn't the case. Lin Yi panicked. On one hand, he was worried about Xiao Xiao's condition, and on the other hand, he was afraid that Tianlong would suddenly come back. If Tianlong saw his daughter lying naked on the bed, he wouldn't be able to explain himself. Lin Yi fell into deep thought. Lin Yi really didn't know what to do with Xiao Xiao. Of course, Lin Yi didn't have the intention to send Xiao Xiao to the hospital. If he couldn't find the problem, going to the hospital would be pointless. There was nothing wrong with her body, and her organs were perfectly healthy. From the outside, Xiao Xiao was a healthy person who couldn't be any healthier. But why was there no sign of life in her? Blood flowed down Lin Yi's arm, staining the bed sheets and Xiao Xiao's body. But Lin, he didn't have the time to care about the wound on his arm. After all, it wasn't a big deal at all. Jiao Lao, you are very knowledgeable. Do you have any solutions? Lin had no choice but to ask Jiao Yazi for help again. Her body lacks energy. Little Lin E, you can try channeling the art of dragon mastery into her body and see what happens. Jiao Yazi's voice rang in Lin Yi's ears. Lin, he was slightly taken aback. He immediately found hope. Yeah, why didn't I think of that? Since Xiao Xiao's body was lacking life force, could he give the energy from his art of dragon mastery to Xiao Xiao? With that thought, Lin, he didn't hesitate anymore. He grabbed Xiao Xiao's hands and channeled the art of dragon mastery. In an instant, a strong suction force came from Xiao Xiao's body, and the energy in Lin Yi's body surged into Xiao Xiao's body at an unbelievable speed. Lin Yi was shocked. In the past, Lin Yi had used his energy to save other people, like Zhenhu. So he wasn't a stranger to this kind of suction force. This was the energy requirement of an injured body. But this was the first time Lin Yi had seen someone like Xiao Xiao, sucking in energy like a bottomless pit. But in order to wake Xiao Xiao up, Lin Yi gritted his teeth and endured it. It was just losing some energy, wasn't it? He had the Jade's training space anyway. He could recover it after a nap. But Lin Yi's idea was good, but he soon realized that it wasn't the case, because Xiao Xiao's body seemed to have an endless thirst for energy. Lin Yi's face turned pale as well, but the energy in his body continued to flow into Xiao Xiao's body. Lin Kid, let go. Jiao Yazi sensed that something was wrong as well. He quickly reminded Lin Yi. Lin Yi heard Jiao Yazi's warning, and his body shook. He wanted to let go of Xiao Xiao's hands, but he realized that there was some kind of sticky force between their hands, and they couldn't separate at all. Jiao Lao, what do we do? Lin Yi was shocked. He had to ask Jiao Lao for help. Jiao Yazi was confused as well, but with his knowledge, he couldn't understand why this was happening. Don't you want to try using the art of dragon mastery again? I can't stop. Lin Yi smiled bitterly. He had thought of this a long time ago, but the art of dragon mastery was circulating in his body on its own, and it wasn't something Lin Yi could control. It was like when he was about to level up and break through. He couldn't control it at all. Jiao Yazi didn't know what to do. I'm out of ideas. You think of something yourself. You damn old man. Lin Yi was panicking. Jiao Yazi didn't care anymore. So what was he going to do? He called out, Jiao Lao, come out. However, Jiao Yazi pretended to be dead and didn't make a sound. Ah, Lin Yi screamed. He felt as if the energy in his body was sucked dry. He fell on the bed and fainted. Luckily, you're not dead. Jiao Yazi's voice finally sounded. Huh? Lin Yi was stunned. I'm fine. However, the next moment, Lin Yi found himself automatically entering the cultivation space inside the jade pendant. In the past, he could only enter when he was asleep. He didn't expect to be able to enter when he fainted. I'm not dead, but the situation doesn't seem to be very good. Jiao Yazi laughed dryly. You damn old man, we're both teachers and friends. How can you leave me alone when you're in trouble? Lin, he was furious. Luckily, I'm lucky. It looks like I'm only unconscious and not dead. Hee, isn't this beyond my knowledge? I don't know what's going on either. I can't just say anything, right? Jiao Yazi was embarrassed. Lin Yi also knew that this wasn't the time to blame Jiao Yazi. Jiao Lao was right. He didn't know what happened to him just now. He could only choose to remain silent. You should look at your own situation. Little E, your situation isn't good. Jiao Yazi coughed twice to divert Lin Yi's attention. Lin Yi was shocked when he heard Jiao Yazi's words. Yeah, I was busy talking to Jiao Yazi. I didn't even check my own situation. I lost so much energy just now. I don't know if it's harmful to my body. Although I'm still in the cultivation space, my body outside is in a coma. Lin Yi quickly checked his own situation. However, the next moment, Lin Yi's face changed. Chapter 516. A blessing in misfortune, Jiao Lao. I think I dropped a level. Lin Yi smiled bitterly at Jiao Yazi. Lin Yi didn't think that he would be so unlucky. He tried to save Xiao Xiao out of goodwill, but he didn't even get to save her. Instead, he dropped a level. I can tell. There's no energy in your body at all. Your condition is the same as Xiao Xiao's, Jiao Lao said. Jiao Yazi knew that something was wrong. That was why he reminded Lin to check his body. Then, does it mean that I've lost all my strength? Lin, he was a little depressed, but he was able to accept it. He had already dropped a level, and there was no point in being sad. It was better to figure out the situation and find a solution. Haha, yeah. Jiao Yazi smiled. You used up all your energy, so of course you dropped a level. It's not normal if you don't drop a level. Ah. Lin, he looked at Jiao Yazi, who could still smile at a time like this. He felt weird. Jiao Lao, why do I feel like you're gloating? Of course not. I just think that it's okay to lose a level. Golden class late phase peak isn't that big of a deal, so what if I lose a level? Elder Jiao waved his hand and said nonchalantly. Jiao Lao, that's easy for you to say. I have a lot of enemies, okay. Lin, he was speechless. Wouldn't I have to hide in the mountains if that's the case? I say, Lily, aren't you a little too useless? You lost a golden class late phase peak, and you're so worried that you want to hide in your hometown. Can you still do something big? Jiao Yazi looked at Lin mockingly. Ugh, golden class late phase peak is nothing in your eyes, but at least it's enough for me to protect myself. Ugh. Lin was startled for a moment before a trace of joy flashed across his eyes. He looked at Jiao Yazi and said, Jiao Lao, do you have a solution? Solution? You don't know? Jiao Yazi looked at Lin with a faint smile. If I know, can I ask you? Lin was a little helpless. This Jiao Yazi seemed to be very naughty and mischievous. I thought you knew. Jiao Yazi said, it's such a simple thing. If you drop a level, can't you just train again? Haven't you played online games before? Practice again? Lin was depressed after hearing it. This is a way, but isn't this method a bit too slow? It took me more than 10 years to reach the late phase of the golden class. Your art of dragon mastery didn't drop, Jiao Yazi said, looking at Lin. Art of dragon mastery. Lin suddenly reacted and subconsciously channeled the art of dragon mastery. The energy in the space in the jade quickly rushed into his body. Lin also sensed the level of the art of dragon mastery. It was still at the second level. Do you understand now? Golden class is just a common level created by some people. It's mainly based on the amount of energy in the body, which is what they call pure qi. Jiao Yazi said, you're practicing the art of dragon mastery, but it's only the first level. It's equivalent to the late phase of the golden class. Then if I train again, won't it still be very slow? Lin asked after some hesitation. Had you played online games before? Jiao Yazi was a rather fashionable old man. He even knew about online games. A little. Lin nodded, but he didn't know what it had to do with online games. The situation in your body right now is that although there's no energy, the level is still there. Jiao Yazi explained, it's like when you play online games. The level is there, but the experience is gone. Is it faster for a level 30 character to take care of a level 1 character, or for a level 1 character to reach level 30 by themselves? Lin immediately understood what Jiao Yazi meant. Although Jiao Yazi's analogy was very common, it was very appropriate. In other words, he was already at the second level of the art of dragon mastery. His training speed now should be much faster than when he wasn't even at the first level. He also remembered that he could still train in the space in the jade, so his speed was naturally not the same as before. Do you understand now? Jiao Yazi looked at Lin and laughed. It's not a big deal. Why are you so nervous? I didn't know. Lin was a little embarrassed. He was indeed too worried just now. Now that he thought about it, it made sense. Lin channeled the art of dragon mastery again, and the energy in the space started to surge. Lin felt it. It was more than 10 times faster than before, and the purity of the energy was incomparable. He calmed down a little. After solving his problem, Lin suddenly remembered that he didn't know about Xiao Xiao's situation. He wanted to go back to reality to have a look, but he realized that he couldn't go back this time. Usually, Lin Yi could control the time he woke up in the jade space, and he could also sense his body's condition in the outside world. Lin Yi was only concerned with his own strength before, and he didn't pay attention to the outside world. But now, he realized that he didn't have the same connection with his body in the outside world. Jiao Lao, I can't go back. Lin Yi was a little worried, but thinking about Jiao Yazi's calm face, he knew that if something really happened to him, he wouldn't be like this anymore. With the experience of recovering his strength, Lin Yi wasn't as scared this time. You've used up all your energy and fainted. Naturally, it's different from sleeping on your own. Jiao Yazi said faintly, you can go back after recovering some energy in the space. So that was it. Lin Yi nodded. It didn't seem to be a big problem. With Jiao Yazi's confirmation, Lin Yi started training in peace. Time passed, and slowly, Lin Yi had a connection with his body in the outside world. He could feel that Xiao Xiao's breathing had calmed down, and her body wasn't lifeless like before. There was a faint energy wave, and Lin Yi let out a sigh of relief. It seemed that Xiao Xiao was fine now. This allowed him to train in peace in the jade space. Otherwise, if he kept worrying about Xiao Xiao, Lin Yi wouldn't be able to calm down. The energy in the jade space surged into Lin Yi's body, and Lin Yi's strength was growing at an unbelievable rate. This made Lin Yi completely relax. With his current speed, it wouldn't take long for him to recover his strength. Chapter 517. Chapter 517. Xiao Xiao's evil idea. Lin Yi was pulled back by Xiao Xiao's scream. What made Lin Yi happy was that Xiao Xiao really woke up. Lin Yi's hands were still holding onto Xiao Xiao's hands. You're awake? Lin Yi breathed out in relief when he saw that Xiao Xiao was fine. What did you do to me? Xiao Xiao woke up to find herself naked on the bed, and Lin Yi was sleeping beside her. The scariest thing was that there were traces of blood between her legs and the bed sheet. Xiao Xiao, who thought that she had lost her virginity, started screaming. But Lin Yi didn't know what was going on. He looked at Xiao Xiao, stunned. Me? What did I do to you? You. Xiao Xiao was a little annoyed. Lin Yi wouldn't go back on his word, would he? She was naked on the same bed as him, and he was still asking her what she did? Wasn't this infuriating? Xiao Xiao knew that she didn't have long to live, but she wasn't a casual girl. She couldn't pretend that nothing had happened. What about me? Lin Yi was a little annoyed. He saved Xiao Xiao, and this girl thought that he did something to her. She lost a level herself, and he still hadn't settled the score with her. He said, without me, you'd be dead. Xiao Xiao froze, suddenly remembering what happened. Xiao Xiao opened her eyes and realized that she was naked on the bed with Lin Yi, and there were blood stains on her body and the bed sheet. She was a little confused. She subconsciously thought that something had happened between the two of them, but Lin Yi's words reminded her that she'd been in the middle of a shower and then fainted because of the discomfort. Did that mean that Lin Yi had gotten her out of the washroom and saved her? But how did Lin Yi save him? Even if Xiao Xiao hadn't experienced it herself, she knew from her mother's diary that the moment she showed symptoms like that was the moment it would happen. In other words, she wasn't far from death, and even the best doctors wouldn't be able to save her. Xiao Xiao's cry for help earlier was out of instinct. She knew she was going to die, but who would want to die? But now, Xiao Xiao felt that her body was fine, as if there were no symptoms at all. Could it be that Lin Yi really did save her? You saved me? Xiao Xiao looked at Lin Yi hesitantly. Can you stop asking nonsense? Lin Yi smiled bitterly. How'd you save me? Xiao Xiao was curious. She had an incurable disease, and although her body felt fine now, she still didn't believe that Lin Yi could save her. No comment, Lin Yi said lightly. Oh, Xiao Xiao didn't pursue the matter. She suddenly remembered the blood on her body. Then what's with the blood on me? You really didn't? I cut my arm when I was hugging you in the bathroom. Lin Yi raised his arm, but to his surprise, the wound was pretty much healed already. There was only a faint scar on it. Really? Xiao Xiao looked at the scar on Lin Yi's arm. It didn't look new, and she was suspicious. Did you just cut it? Lin Yi shrugged and stood up. It didn't matter to Lin whether or not Xiao Xiao believed him. Hurry up and put on your clothes. Otherwise, your father will think that I really did something to you when he comes back. Xiao Xiao just realized that she was still naked, and Lin had been with her for so long. Didn't he see everything? Xiao Xiao blushed. You, turn around. I did. Your body's not bad. Lin didn't have any bad feelings toward Xiao Xiao, but he didn't like her either. He didn't hold back with his words. You. Xiao Xiao was furious. She glared at Lin wanting to kill Lin with her eyes. Xiao Xiao knew very well that if she were to fight Lin right now, she'd be the one exposed, regardless of whether or not she'd be a match for Lin. But now that Lin had turned around, Xiao Xiao's eyes almost popped out of their sockets. It didn't have any effect on Lin. Xiao Xiao was pissed, but she rolled her eyes and suddenly thought of a bold idea. Xiao Xiao gritted her teeth and picked up her phone from the bed, setting it to camera mode. She jumped off the bed and hugged Lin from behind, taking a picture with her phone. Xiao Xiao's action stunned Lin. Lin turned around to wait for Xiao Xiao to put on her clothes, naturally not on guard against her. Plus, Lin had pretty much lost all his strength. He only noticed her when she got close. What are you doing? Lin didn't know what Xiao Xiao was doing. His heart throbbed as he felt Xiao Xiao's softness on his back after hugging him. It made Lin Yi's heart skip a beat. Nothing. Xiao Xiao jumped away from Lin in a panic and quickly put her phone away. Why did you take a picture of me? Lin didn't turn around, but he could see Xiao Xiao's hand holding the phone. Tell my dad that you raped me, Xiao Xiao said, rolling her eyes. Lin frowned, but didn't say anything. Lin had seen Xiao Xiao's weird side before, so he didn't find it strange. Xiao Xiao didn't see Lin answer, so she got bored and put on her clothes. Hey, you really didn't do anything with me? You couldn't feel it yourself? Lin asked. Why would I feel it? I fainted. How would I know what you did? Xiao Xiao humphed. Are you not a virgin? Lin asked. You're not a virgin. Of course I am. Xiao Xiao wasn't too happy to hear Lin say that she wasn't a virgin. Her behavior was similar to a delinquent girl's, but Xiao Xiao had always kept her chastity and had never had a boyfriend. Of course not. Lin curled his lips. If you were a virgin, wouldn't your first time hurt? Go to the hospital and you'll know if it's okay. Xiao Xiao came to a realization. He was right. She didn't feel anything weird, so nothing had happened. But didn't that mean she wouldn't have anything to use against Lin? Chapter 518. Chapter 518. Recovery. Go play by yourself. Call me when your dad comes back. Lin looked at the time. It was already 1 a.m. He and Xiao Xiao had been unconscious for a few hours, and Tianlong hadn't come back yet. He probably wouldn't come back tonight. Lin knew that Tianlong's job wasn't much different from what he used to do. If he didn't come back at this hour, it meant that he wouldn't be coming back. There was no need for Lin to wait any longer. You're leaving? Xiao Xiao saw that Lin was about to leave, and she was a little annoyed. This guy saw her naked and then left. What was he trying to do? Lin nodded and walked out of Xiao Xiao's room, leaving only his back view behind. Oomph. Xiao Xiao stomped her feet. Stupid Lin, I'll dig your eyeballs out and stomp on them. She was angry, but she remembered that Lin had complimented her figure, and she was a little happy. Her figure wasn't bad. Lin wasn't interested in her. Given time, she might be able to capture Lin Yi's heart, right? With that thought, Xiao Xiao was happy once more, especially since the picture she took just now was her ace in the hole. If Tang Yin saw it, Lin would be done for. Lin didn't know what Xiao Xiao was thinking, and he didn't have the time to think about it. He started checking his strength after he left Songjiang International Hotel. Golden class early phase? A smile appeared on Lin Yi's face. It took him almost 5 years to go from a normal person to a golden class early phase, but now, it only took him a few hours. It seemed like Jiao Yazi was right. He didn't lose his level, but his energy, his strength would recover as well. Golden class early phase wasn't very strong, but it was still enough to protect himself. Lin hailed a taxi and went back to his hotel. Fatty Lai and Guan Shuamin were still awake. They were drinking in a room, an old man and a young man. They didn't have much to talk about, but they had a common topic. Lin E in the medical company, so the atmosphere wasn't awkward. Fatty Lie saw Lin E enter and said, "Boss, you're back? Do you want to drink with us?" "Let's drink then." Lin E didn't reject. One of them was an elder, and the other was his follower, but the medical company still relied on him in the future. Fatty Lie said it casually, not expecting Lin E to agree. He was stunned when Lin E agreed. Lin E, on the other hand, was already sitting over. He'd been watching Xiao Xiao eat at the hotel, and he hadn't eaten anything at all. He really was a little hungry now. "I'll eat something first. You guys drink first." Lin E saw that there were still some dumplings on the table, so he put them in front of him and started wolfing them down. "Boss, you didn't eat?" Fatty Lie was shocked. He thought that Lin E went out to eat. He didn't expect him to eat like a hungry wolf. "Huh." Lin E smiled. "I did, but there was a girl with a big appetite. She finished them all by herself." "Ugh." Fatty Lie's eyes widened. "Don't tell me it's that Xiao Xiao." "Yeah, that's her." Lin E didn't hide it. "Oh, I wonder what her background is." Even Wu Gonggao is afraid of her dad. Naturally, Fatty Lie had an impression of Xiao Xiao. He was a businessman, so he would always remember these powerful people in his heart. "Huh, I'm friends with her dad, but don't ask about her background." Lin E waved his hand. "It's a secret." Lin E and Fatty Lie hadn't known each other for long, so Lin E couldn't trust him completely. He could tell him some things, but he couldn't tell him some things. But Xu Amin understood Lin Yi's words. He knew about the relationship between Lin Yi and Yang Huaijuan, and when he thought about how Gonggao addressed Tianlong, he immediately thought about Tianlong's identity. Tianlong was probably a special agent, but he didn't know which department he belonged to. Fatty Lie didn't say anything else. He started discussing the auction with Lin Yi. "Boss, look. This is the list of items for tomorrow's auction. See if there's anything you want." Fatty Lie's invitation was red, so he could only get the list on the day of the auction. Xu Amin, on the other hand, had a gold invitation, so he could get the list in advance. Xu Amin didn't care at first, but when he thought that Lin Yi might need something, he asked for one. "I've looked at the list. The only thing related to medicine is a 1,000-year-old snow lotus," Xu Amin said. "I wonder if it's useful." 1,000-year-old snow lotus? Lin Yi paused. This was a rare item. The 1,000-year-old snow lotus is used in many ancient recipes, and it has unexpected effects when it comes to healing scars. "Oh, does that mean it's useful to us?" Fatty Lie asked excitedly. "Should we get it tomorrow?" "There's no need for that." Lin Yi waved his hand. "The cost is too high. We can't mass-produce it." "You're right. One snow lotus really isn't enough." Fatty Lie was a little disappointed. For example, the scar healing medicine we're auctioning. The original recipe included a 1,000-year-old snow lotus, but I replaced it with something else. Lin Yi said. In fact, many of the ingredients in ancient prescriptions are hard to find, but substitutes can be found. "Damn, boss, you're so amazing." Fatty Lie was full of admiration for Lin Yi's words. "You can even replace that? Does it affect the effect?" "Maybe, maybe not, but I haven't found any." Lin Yi smiled. "It should be negligible." "Boss, you're a miracle doctor." Fatty Lie didn't know much about medicine, but he knew that there were many doctors who could write prescriptions, but doctors who could change prescriptions and find substitutes were few and far between. Xu Amin, too, had a face full of shock. Lin Yi had brought him too many surprises, and it was hard for him to accept all of them. There's always someone better than you. He used to be called a miracle doctor, but compared to Lin Yi, he was like a frog at the bottom of a well. Chapter 519. Wani Yankin wouldn't box Fatty Lie, felt that his decision was wise. It was an honor to be Lin Yi's follower. His brother, that idiot, thought that he was so powerful after getting the electronics industry. He didn't know that the reason why he gave it up was because it was nothing in his eyes. Only by standing at a higher position would one be able to see further and wider. The business he would do with Lin Yi would be much bigger than the electronics industry. Lin Yi flipped through the catalog in his hands. Most of them were antiques, sculptures, paintings, calligraphy, and the like. Of course, there are also some weird stuff like celebrity dates. But the celebrities on the second day were much more famous than the first. All right, that celebrity Su Shirhan. Is there a date auction? Lin, he looked at the list. He didn't know any of them. He thought for a long time and only heard the name Su Shirhan. Ugh. Fatty Lai smiled bitterly. Boss, do you like Su Shirhan? I don't. Lin, he shook his head. I have a friend who likes her. If there's an auction, I'll buy her for them to meet. Linny knew that the Miss and Shu were Su Shirhan's fans, so if there really was such an opportunity in the auction, Lin, he wouldn't mind bidding for them once. After all, the Miss and Shu treated him quite well. I see. I thought you liked her. Fatty Lai shook his head and said, That's true. Boss, if you're a fan of hers, you'd know about her. Know what? Linny asked. Su Shirhan's background. Ever since her debut, there haven't been any scandals. But no one knows her background. But many of those who had designs on her disappeared. Fatty Lai said softly. Disappeared? Linny frowned. It seemed that Su Shirhan had a powerful background. If that was the case, Lin, he didn't want to mess with her. He had enough troubles already. If she chased after him, he wouldn't be able to do anything else. Yeah, disappeared. Maybe she ran away after being threatened, or maybe she disappeared from the face of the earth. Fatty Lai said, It's not a secret in the upper class. Forget it then. I'm not interested in her anyway. With that, Lin, he went back to looking at the auction catalog. Fatty Lai saw that Lin, he wasn't interested, so he didn't say anything else. Otherwise, he would have warned Lin Yi again. Although his boss was powerful, Su Shirhan wasn't someone to be messed with. Suddenly, Lin Yi's eyes stopped on a page. It was the Millennium Snow Lotus that Fatty Lai talked about. But what caught Lin Yi's attention wasn't the Millennium Snow Lotus. It was the box that contained it. Fatty Lai saw that Lin Yi's eyes stopped on the Millennium Snow Lotus. He thought that Lin Yi was interested in it, so he introduced. This was found in a cave. It's been a while. I heard that some herbs and medical books were found at the same time. But this Millennium Snow Lotus is one of the most valuable. Starting price of 5 million. Lin, he looked at the catalog. What's the final price? Yes, starting price is 5 million, but it's hard to estimate the final price. Fatty Lai shook his head. This kind of thing is a special kind of item. If someone needs it, the price will be very high. But if no one needs it, it won't get a good price. Oh, Linny nodded. Let's bid for it tomorrow. Boss, didn't you say that it's useless? Fatty Lai nodded, but he was still confused. That Snow Lotus is useless. I want that box. Linny pointed at the box with the Snow Lotus on the catalog. Box. Fatty Lai was taken aback, but he didn't ask anything. He nodded. Okay, I'll try my best. Forget it if it's more than 100 million, Linny said. This box was probably made from the trunk of a tree called Wanyankin wood. After putting the herbs inside, it could maintain the medicinal properties for 10,000 years. Not only that, but it could also accelerate the ripening and purification of some herbs. However, this was something that Lin he had read from an ancient book left behind by his old man. The things that were mentioned in the ancient book were almost mythical herbs that he had never heard of before. They didn't even exist in the modern world. Back then, Lin he only read it as an entertainment magazine. He didn't think that he'd encounter something like that in an ancient book. But Lin he only had a vague impression of it. He felt that the picture of the box on the auction list was similar to the Wanyankin wood in the ancient book. He couldn't be sure if the two were the same thing. Moreover, the ancient book only introduced the properties of the items. It only had a few words about each item, and the usage and usage of the items weren't even mentioned in detail. Lin he was just curious when he saw it, and asked Fatty Lai to bid for it. As for whether he could bid for it or not, Lin he didn't really care. Even if he bid for it, Lin he didn't know if it would be useful or not, let alone how to use it. It was just for fun. If it was cheap, he could study it. Okay, I'll try. Fatty Lai nodded and remembered Lin Yi's request in his heart. As for the other auction items, Lin he wasn't too interested. He flipped through them and put them aside. Dr. Kang's special edition golden creation. Is it being auctioned tomorrow? Yes, their golden creation is for tomorrow. Fatty Lai nodded and laughed. If nothing goes wrong, I'm afraid it will be sold out. Why don't we auction the special edition injury medicine tomorrow? To cause trouble for them? Forget it. Don't worry about them. Lin, he waved his hand. This small amount of money wasn't a big deal to House Kong. Lin, he naturally had no interest in fighting with them. Then let's ignore them. Boss, come, let's drink. Fatty Lai saw that Lin he had finished reading the list and finished the dumplings. So he poured a glass of wine for Lin E and raised it. Boss, let's drink till we're drunk. To celebrate our company's great victory. Chapter 520. House Kong and his grandson in a hotel near the Yanjing auction site. Dr. Kong sat on the sofa, sulking. He'd spent $430 million on a pill of life extension and toxin cleansing, but Lu Qianni and Haitian had only spent $280 million. Wasn't the difference a little too big? But there was nothing he could do about it. Who asked him to make such a mistake? He thought that when the first pill of life extension and toxin cleansing was auctioned, it would be Lu Qianni and Fatty Lai bidding randomly. The second pill of life extension and toxin cleansing would be cheaper. It wasn't that Dr. Kong was being ridiculous, but this was the usual situation in auctions. It was the same for his family's golden creation. In the beginning, it could be sold for $500,000, but in the end, it could only be sold for $300,000 to $400,000. Who would have thought that the second pill of life extension and toxin cleansing would be won by someone from House Yu? And the price was also $280 million. This made Dr. Kong a little anxious. He knew that the pill was indeed worth this price. However, he didn't dare compete with House Yu. After all, whether or not his family could be recognized as a noble house depended on House Yu. And so, Dr. Kong could only wait for the third pill of life extension and toxin cleansing. Unfortunately, Fatty Lai had also set his sights on the third pill of life extension and toxin cleansing. He actually bid $400 million for it. This made Dr. Kong want to vomit blood, but there was nothing he could do. In the end, when he thought about the value of each pill of life extension and toxin cleansing and the long-term benefits it could bring to the family, Dr. Kong had no choice but to spend $430 million to buy the last pill of life extension and toxin cleansing. If they could really figure out the components of the pill, it would bring great benefits to the family. $430 million was practically all of House Kang's liquid funds. House Kang's liquid funds were only around $500 million, and they'd used up more than 80% of it. Fortunately, there was an item to be auctioned tomorrow. If they could get it, it would bring them an unexpected amount of profit. Thinking of this, Dr. Kong felt a little comforted. Suddenly, there was a knock on the door. Dr. Kong frowned and asked, "Who is it?" "Grandpa, it's me, Xiaolong." Xiaolong rushed back to the hotel. He wanted to tell his grandpa about how he befriended House Wu today. "Come in. The door isn't locked." Dr. Kong let him in as soon as he heard it was Xiaolong. Xiaolong walked in and closed the door behind him, locking it from the inside. "Why did you lock the door?" Dr. Kong was puzzled. "Grandpa, I have something important to tell you." Xiaolong lowered his voice and walked quickly to Dr. Kang's side, sitting on the sofa beside him. "Something big? What is it?" Dr. Kong asked. "Today, I've successfully befriended Wu Qintian from House Wu." Xiaolong told Miracle Dr. Kong everything that happened today, including how he met Lin, Yi, and Xiao Xiao, and how he helped Qintian take pictures. He didn't leave out any of it. Dr. Kong listened to Xiaolong and fell in a deep thought. After a while, he nodded. "Xiaolong, you did well. $15 million. It was worth it to spend it. With Qintian's flamboyant personality, you'll be able to use this to build a good relationship with him." "Yeah, Grandpa. With House Wu's help, can we start thinking about becoming a noble house?" Xiaolong asked carefully. "Becoming a noble house." Dr. Kong took a deep breath and looked at his grandson, surprised. He didn't expect his grandson to be even more ambitious than he was. He'd just befriended House Wu, and now he was thinking about becoming a noble house. House Wu has a very special position among the noble houses. If Gong Gao were to speak up and support us, no one would object. Even House, you would have to think about the weight of a mystic. Xiaolong continued, "My relationship with Qintian right now is just a relationship of benefits. I paid for him, and he's grateful to me now. He's willing to help me with some things, but I'm afraid that he'll forget about it as time goes by. We might as well strike the iron while it's hot and make it work." What you said makes sense. Dr. Kong nodded. If I didn't finish reading the catalog for tomorrow, I'd have to seriously consider your suggestion, but now we can really give it a try. Oh, catalog? Is there anything in the catalog that's beneficial to House Kong? Xiaolong paused. Yes, and it's very beneficial. Miracle Dr. Kong nodded. Our family's golden creation actually has more effects than just this. It can also remove old scars on the skin, giving the skin a brand new look. I know that, but isn't there an ingredient that's very rare? Xiaolong was in charge of House Kang's laboratory, so he knew a thing or two about golden creation. That's right. What's in the auction tomorrow? Miracle Dr. Kong said as he pointed at the catalog in his hand. Oh, Xiaolong paused. He quickly took the catalog from his grandpa and flipped it open. He was shocked. Millennium Snow Lotus? Is there really such a thing? Of course. This kind of herb must have been appraised before it could be sold in an auction like this. Otherwise, it'd be bad for House Yu's reputation if there's a fake one. Miracle Dr. Kong said. We must have this 1,000-year-old snow lotus. Miracle Dr. Kong continued. But, Grandpa, even if we manage to make this golden creation, what does it have to do with fighting for the position of a noble house? Xiaolong paused. He couldn't understand the connection between the two. A medicine that removes scars naturally can't compare to the pill of life extension and toxin cleansing, but it's still a miraculous medicine. Dr. Kong smiled. As long as we use it well, it'll be very beneficial to our house. Oh. Grandpa, you're saying that we should use this golden creation for public relations? Xiaolong naturally understood what his grandpa meant. He just couldn't figure out what this special golden creation could do. Chapter 521. Kong Xiaolong's Treachery. Miracle Elixir? Xiaolong paused and understood what his grandpa meant. That's right. Which woman doesn't want to look good? It's unavoidable to have scars growing up. The scars on the body are fine, but the scars on the face are more serious. These women of noble houses will definitely ask for this elixir if they know about it. It doesn't matter if they ask for it or act coquettishly. This way, House Kong will naturally become a noble house. That's right. This is an opportunity. I was thinking about how to use this opportunity. Dr. Kong smiled. If it's just this opportunity, it's not enough. But you've got House Wu's support. This is like adding wings to a tiger. With these two added together, we won't have to worry about them not agreeing to let us become a noble house. That's great. Xiaolong was a little excited. If that's the case, then I don't need to maintain a good relationship with that Wang Xinyan anymore. She's quite pretty, but House Xiao's really done for, and Wang Xinyan isn't technically a part of House Xiao. If House Kong can really become a noble house, then I can find someone more suitable. Yeah, that's true. Xiaolong, you're not bad. You know how to prioritize the family's interests and the big picture. Dr. Kong said, You're a man of great deeds. Grandpa, I'm the eldest grandson of House Kong. Naturally, I have to prioritize the family's interests. Xiaolong said, It's a bit of a pity. That Wang Xinyan girl is quite attractive. It's not bad to play with her, but Xiao family may be down and out, but they're still a noble house. You can't get rid of them just because you play with them. It's best to stay away from them. That's right. Miracle Dr. Kong nodded as well. Your brother's pretty clear-cut on that. He plays with women, but they're all women with no background or power. He'll be able to deal with them when the time comes. It's just that he's been spoiled since he was young. Haha, Grandpa, I actually think that Xiaoming might not be a bad thing for House Kong. Xiaolong said, There are some things that we can't do, but Xiaoming can. Oh, Dr. Kong was taken aback. He looked at his eldest grandson in confusion, not understanding what he meant. Xiaolong, are you afraid that Xiaoming will fight you for the position of the family head? Of course not. Xiaolong smiled. If Xiaoming really is that kind of material, then I'll step down and let him be. I'll be the head of the house, and I won't ostracize him. As long as House Kong prospers, we won't mistreat his bloodline. What I said before is true. Xiaolong's words surprised Dr. Kong a little. This was the first time his grandson was sharing his heart with him, telling him about his ambitions and thoughts for the future of House Kong and Kong Ming Ming. I'm glad that you think that way. Tell me, why isn't it a bad thing for Xiaoming? Dr. Kong asked curiously. That Lin is not simple. I don't know his background, but from the way he hangs out with Guan Shuamin and Lai Changyi, he's not a good guy. Xiaolong said, and Guan Shuamin has created a miracle Dr. Guan medical company, a pill of life extension and toxin cleansing. Who knows what other products he has in store? House Kong is at a disadvantage. Yeah, motherfucker, I get angry just mentioning it. Dr. Kong said angrily. Isn't he copying me and stealing our business? Yes, but I heard that Guan Shuamin has a pretty granddaughter. She's a nurse in the hospital, about the same age as Xiaoming, Xiaolong said faintly. You're saying? Dr. Kong paused. You're letting your brother marry Guan Shuamin's granddaughter? Marriage? Is House Guan worthy? Guan Shuamin's position is higher than House Kang's, and in the eyes of outsiders, he's a real miracle doctor, higher than you, Grandpa. But in my eyes, it's just a temporary glory. Xiaolong said disdainfully. It's just a dream. When Guan Shuamin burps one day, House Guan will be done for. You're quite clear on this, aren't you? I didn't even think of that. Miracle Dr. Kong burst into laughter. Haha, I was still thinking about it, but now that you've mentioned it, I've gotten over it. Yeah, so marriage with House Guan is out of the question. But before Guan Shuamin dies, let Xiaoming mess with his granddaughter and get some insider information. It'll be very beneficial for House Kong, and we might even get our hands on the secret recipe. Xiaolong said, Oh, that works? Dr. Kang's eyes widened. He'd always thought that he was very cunning, but he realized that his eldest grandson was even more of a sarcastic person. Why not? Xiaoming has always been a master of love. What kind of woman can't he handle? Let him handle this. Xiaolong said, In the future, even if I become the head of the house, I'll give him half of the assets, as long as he gets this big credit. Miracle, Dr. Kong nodded. This was the first time he'd learned of his grandson's intentions and plans. Miracle Dr. Kong didn't have to worry since he'd made his stance clear. Although House Kong was growing stronger by the day, Miracle Dr. Kong was afraid that Xiaolong and Xiaoming would fight for power after he passed away, causing House Kong to fall apart. But now, with Xiaolong's words, he could leave House Kong in Xiaolong's hands. With that thought, Dr. Kong said, All right, we need to think about this carefully. We can't act rashly. We can only do it after the research is done. Yes, I'm just talking about Xiaoming. Actually, in every big house, there's always someone who's close to being a playboy. Are they really playboys? Some of them might really be good-for-nothings, but some of them might have been specially nurtured. Xiaolong said, And these playboys will let them do things that others wouldn't normally do. Yeah, you're pretty smart, kid. Miracle Dr. Kong nodded. A normal person wouldn't be able to chase after Shuamin's granddaughter. It'd be a huge loss to the family's reputation. But if Xiaoming were to do it, no one would say anything because he's a spoiled brat to begin with. If he did it, then he did it. It's always been like this, but this time it's a bit too much. Ha, Grandpa, that's what I meant. Xiaolong nodded. Chapter 522. Becoming a noble house. All right, Grandpa, I'll go rest now. Xiaolong knew that he had achieved his goal with what he had said today. It seemed like he was speaking from the bottom of his heart, but he was doing it on purpose. If House Kong really became a noble house, then Kong Ming Ming would definitely try to compete with him for the position of the head of the house. Xiaolong had made his stance clear to Dr. Kong, letting him know that he wouldn't mistreat Kong Ming Ming if he became the head of the house. Plus, Kong Ming Ming wasn't completely useless. With this, Dr. Kong would inevitably pass the position to Xiaolong, because Kong Ming Ming had already been defined by the house and would be raised to be a spoiled brat. He would lose the right to compete for the position of head of the house. How could a spoiled brat become the head of the house? Xiaolong turned around and walked out of Dr. Kang's room. He laughed coldly and walked back to his own room. Noble house wasn't Xiaolong's ultimate goal anymore. His goal was to become a martial arts noble house. That was the only way he could stand firm and not be eliminated. The next morning, Dr. Kong rushed to the auction house with Xiaolong. The auction house wasn't open during the day, but they should be able to contact House Yu here. Chen Tian received a call from Xiaolong early in the morning. He thought that it was Xiaolong asking him for money, and he was shocked. He looked at the number on his phone, hesitating whether he should answer or not. His grandpa had just woken up in the middle of the night. Although Gong Yao was a martial arts practitioner and fainted from anger, Chen Tian didn't dare to talk about money again. He was afraid that his grandpa would faint again, so he could only put this matter aside for now. When he saw the call from Xiaolong, he didn't know whether he should answer or not. He was a person who cared about his reputation, especially when this was a great opportunity to show off. How could he back down? But to be honest, he didn't dare to answer. What if Xiaolong really wanted the money? If he said that he couldn't return the money now, wouldn't he lose face? Don't even talk about being pretentious. People would laugh their heads off. But that was 15 million. Anyone would feel the pinch if they lost that much money, especially since Xiaolong had borrowed so much from him in private. There was no guarantee that he wouldn't get scolded by Dr. Kong when he got back. Chen Tian gritted his teeth and picked up the phone. He was a loyal man, and he couldn't let people look down on him. Even if he was beaten until his face was swollen, he still had to pretend to be fat. "Hello, Brother Xiaolong. I was just thinking about calling you." Chen Tian was afraid that Xiaolong would mention the money, so he decided to strike first. "Let me tell you, I'll pay you back for yesterday's meal when we get back. I don't have my bank card with me here." "Oh, that money? Don't worry." Xiaolong paused, figuring out what Chen Tian was thinking. He was a person who was good at observing and analyzing others, but on the surface, he appeared to be very obedient, making people feel that he was very harmless. "We're brothers, so how can you cheat me? I didn't even think about it. Let's talk about it when we get back." One had to admit that Xiaolong had a way with words. Not only did he buy Chen Tian's favor, but he also didn't say that he didn't want the money. Instead, he pointed out that Chen Tian had to return the money. "You're the boss, and you're so powerful, you won't lack money from a lackey like me." But it was enough to give Chen Tian face. "Yeah, I knew you wouldn't doubt my character, my little brother. What a straightforward person. Brother, you're a true friend of mine." As expected, Chen Tian was moved to tears and fell into the trap. He felt that Xiaolong was really a loyal person, and he had to return the money even if he had to sell everything he had. He couldn't let a brother like this down. "Haha, of course, I see bro Chen Tian as my boss." Xiaolong said, "Boss, you have to protect me." Of course. Chen Tian said straightforwardly. "Right, bro Chen Tian, Grandpa and I were invited to House Yu's auction today to discuss about House Kong becoming a noble house. Although it's basically a done deal, we still feel a little guilty." Xiaolong said, "Bro Chen Tian, can you come with me to boost my courage? With you, the heir of House Wu, we won't be afraid anymore." "No problem." Chen Tian agreed immediately. He didn't have to do anything himself. He just needed to boost his courage. Of course he would accept, and he could even show off in front of his lackeys. Why not? "All right, Boss Chen Tian, I'll be waiting for you at the auction." Xiaolong's way of addressing Chen Tian had changed to Boss Chen Tian, and this made Chen Tian very happy. Dr. Kong listened to the conversation between Xiaolong and Chen Tian. This grandson was really brave and smart, and his words were flawless. Not only did he make Chen Tian grateful, but he also pointed out that the debt of 15 million must be returned. Xiaolong's words also made Dr. Kong look at him in a different light. This brat actually said that the Kong family's promotion to an aristocratic family was already a done deal. Was he simply lying with his eyes wide open? He hadn't even contacted House Yu yet, and they were still far away from the noble house. How could Xiaolong say something like that? But Dr. Kong knew Xiaolong's goal. If he directly said that he wanted to talk to House Yu about becoming a noble house, Chen Tian would probably be hesitant. After all, his appearance meant that House Wu was supporting House Kong. House Wu had a special position among the noble houses. Wu Gongyao was a mystic, and that was enough to make people respect him. So if Chen Tian supported House Kong becoming a noble house, then this matter would be in the bag. After all, House Yu was powerful, but they didn't need to offend House Wu. If House Kong really had the right, then they might as well go with the flow and let House Wu owe them a favor. This was a very clever move. In fact, this was something that Xiaolong had purposely done in front of Dr. Kong to make Dr. Kong feel at ease. In fact, he had achieved his goal. Miracle Dr. Kong looked at Xiaolong with satisfaction and nodded. Xiaolong, I was wondering who would take over House Kang's business, since you're developing in the academic world and not in the management field. I'm finally at ease now. Chapter 523. House Kang's trump Cardone had to admit that Xiaolong's idea was a good one. Haitian didn't want to see House Kong when he heard that they wanted to see him. House Yu knew what House Kong was planning. House Kong had grown stronger over the years, and they even had a marriage alliance with Xiao family. House Yu was aware of this. House Kong couldn't wait to join the ranks of the noble houses. After all, the benefits of becoming a noble house wasn't as simple as fame. More importantly, the noble houses would always communicate with each other and share resources. They would give each other face, and there would be countless small salons and gatherings every year. House Kang's conditions were enough to become a small noble house. But this wasn't something that could be achieved easily. It involved the distribution of benefits and balance. Having one more noble house would cause more trouble. House Yu wanted to weaken the other noble houses. So how could they let someone else in? However, Haitian hesitated when he heard that House Kong and the third-generation heir of House Wu came together. This time, the Kong family must have come to discuss the matter of becoming an aristocratic family. But at this time, they brought the Wu family. What did this mean? Could it be that House Wu was on House Kang's side, supporting them to become a noble house? Second uncle, what do you think? Haitian was in a difficult position. He couldn't make the decision himself, so he went to ask someone in the family who could. Let them in. Let's see what they say. The middle-aged man listened to Haitian's explanation and nodded. House Kong must become a noble house. Even if we stop them, they'll try their best. Since they've gotten House Wu's help, we might as well see what they have up their sleeves. If they really have something that we're interested in, we might as well give House Kong and House Wu some face. But if they don't have anything good, even if we agree, the other noble houses might not. You have to know that this is a decision made by the 5 noble houses. House Wu alone can't make the decision. We don't need to care about the 4 small noble houses. Haitian paused. He was a peripheral member of House Yu, so he didn't have much contact with the core members. That was why he asked this question. It's not that we don't need to bother with them, but since House Yu has agreed, they won't object, the middle-aged man said faintly, but his words were filled with confidence. All right, I'll call them in now. What about you, uncle? Yu Haitian asked carefully. I won't show up. Don't agree or refuse. Let's see their conditions first. The middle-aged man said, If it's okay, I'll send you a message. Yes, second uncle. Haitian nodded and left the inner room. He came to the living room and said to the subordinate who came to report, Bring them in. After a while, Dr. Kong brought Xiaolong and Chantian to the guest room. Haitian stood up and welcomed them warmly. Dr. Kong, Master Wu, Master Kong, welcome. You're too kind, Mr. Yu. Although Dr. Kong was an elder, he didn't dare to neglect the people of House Yu. Haitian may only be a peripheral member of House Yu, but he still had an important position in the family. Dr. Kong, the auction will start at night. I wonder what brings you here at this time. Is there a new auction item that you want to sell to us? Haitian was an expert at acting dumb. If Dr. Kong didn't bring it up, he wouldn't bring it up. That's right. This time, we do want to add another auction item. Dr. Kong was an experienced man. He nodded, but this auction item is a pre-sale item. Pre-sale item? Haitian paused. He was just asking casually. He didn't expect Dr. Kong to really want to auction an item, and a pre-sale item at that. This made him curious. Could it be that Dr. Kong wasn't here to study the noble houses? Yes. After my grandson and I, Xiaolong, worked tirelessly and overcame many difficulties, we finally developed the upgraded product that we wanted to enter the auction, Skin Beautifying Golden Creation. Dr. Kong said, Skin Beautifying Golden Creation? Haitian repeated the name, Dr. Kong said. The name was a little long and a little hard to pronounce, but that wasn't the point. The point was, who could use this medicine? Seeing Haitian's confused expression, Dr. Kong smiled and explained, This medicine is as the name suggests. Skin beautifying golden creation not only has the basic effect of golden creation, but it also has the effect of beautifying skin. The magic of Jin Chuang medicine was that it could heal wounds quickly without leaving scars. This skin beautifying Jin Chuang medicine could repair some old scars and completely remove these old scars. Of course, this is only the main effect. There are many auxiliary effects, such as beautifying the skin, improving the skin tone, removing dull skin, shrinking pores, and so on. As the person in charge of the auction, Haitian naturally had a keen business sense. When he heard Dr. Kang's introduction, he knew that this medicine was definitely not simple. Once it appeared, it would definitely cause a rush to buy it. It might even exceed the ordinary golden creation. For those women who love beauty, it was simply a trump card. Dr. Kang really lives up to his name. He can even develop such a magical thing. Haitian praised. Miracle Dr. Kang. I wonder if you're thinking of auctioning this miraculous medicine in this auction? Yes. However, I have just developed it, and it is still in the trial stage. The production rate and success rate are very low. I can only take out 2 pre-sale items for auction. Dr. Kang nodded and said, 2. So few? Haitian was stunned. When he heard Dr. Kang mention this medicine, he thought that it could be mass-produced. The reason why it was auctioned at the auction was to let the bidders be the first to use this magical medicine. However, it seemed that it wasn't the case. Yes, although we have a few dozen trial-produced portions, you also know that our Kang family has a lot of friends. Most of them are given to our friends, so there are only 2 left for auction. Dr. Kang said exaggeratedly. Chapter 524. Chapter 524. Another miracle doctor, I see. 2 is not a small amount then. Yu Haitian nodded and said, then this skin-beautifying golden creation will be the finale of today's auction. Let's keep it for tonight. Thank you, Mr. Yu. Miracle Dr. Kang was very satisfied with this decision. The last item the auction house brought out was basically used to stabilize the situation. Dr. Kang, if there's nothing else, please tell the staff about the effects of this skin-beautifying golden creation, as well as when you can get it. I'll be taking my leave, Haitian said with a smile. Haha, no rush. There's one more thing that I hope Mr. You can help me with. Miracle Dr. Kang, on the other hand, stopped Haitian and stopped him from leaving. Oh, is there anything else? Haitian asked, even though he already knew the answer. It's like this. House Kang has done a lot for everyone these past few years. Mr. Yu, could you recommend us to the 5 noble houses and the 4 small noble houses annual meeting so that we could be promoted to a noble house? Miracle Dr. Kang said word by word as he looked at Haitian. He didn't believe that Haitian didn't do his research before he came. He had already stated his conditions, and it depended on House Yu's attitude. Of course, I can recommend you. Haitian had already received his uncle's message. Since House Kang had such a good item as their trump card, there was no need for House Yu to stop them. But, although House Yu is the host of the noble house meeting, whether or not House Kang can become a noble house depends on the other noble houses. Haitian had already received his uncle's message. Haha, of course we know that, Mr. Yu. But, as long as House Yu doesn't object and recommends us, wouldn't we have a higher chance of winning? Dr. Kang smiled. Right. Xiaolong has acknowledged Qintian as his big brother, so naturally, House Wu wouldn't object. Dr. Kang was quite smooth with his words. He didn't say that House Wu would support it, only that they wouldn't oppose it. This way, Qintian wouldn't think that he was overstepping his authority. Of course, my little brother's business is my business. Why would I object? Qintian patted his chest confidently. Qintian, have a lot of friends, but my only true brother is Xiaolong. He's my real brother. Qintian felt that in front of his follower, Xiaolong, he needed to show off his dominance to move him. That way, he'd be able to increase his level of arrogance. At that time, when a new pretentious B***starred Wu Taizhou appeared in front of Sun Jingyi, wouldn't he be able to capture her heart easily? Qintian felt very proud of himself at the thought. The meal yesterday was expensive, but it was worth it, Not only did he get a hold of Lin Yi's weakness, but he also learned how to act cool through Xiao Xiao, and what was even rarer was that he got a follower like this. Life was simply too wonderful. What luck! Chen Tian felt like he was about to become the lucky main character in a novel. All the good things in the world had been taken by him. Haitian's face changed. Wu Chenqian's presence here naturally represented House Wu's stance, but he didn't expect Chen Tian to speak out in support of House Kong, so obviously. This was out of his expectations. Chen Qian's words also explained a lot of things. His only true brother was Zhao Long. What did that mean? Were House Kong and House Wu this close? Haitian hadn't interacted much with Chen Tian, and naturally, he didn't know that the guy was a spoiled brat. His martial arts weren't weak, but his personality was a bit impulsive. From Haitian's perspective, Chen Tian was a golden-class early-phase master at such a young age, and his future was limitless. He was definitely the leader of the third generation of House Wu, the future heir. His words naturally represented House Wu. Haitian didn't know that Chen Tian was a golden-class master. Yes, but he was a golden-class master at such a young age, and it was inevitable that he was arrogant. He was spoiled rotten by Gong Gao, and his only way to solve problems was to use force. As a result, he didn't know that he was being used by Zhao Long. Haha, since young Master Wu supports it, then there shouldn't be too much of a problem for House Kong to become a noble house. Haitian smiled. Of course, since House Yu has nominated House Kong, we will naturally support it. If that's the case, then thank you very much. Dr. Kong saw that his goal was achieved, and he didn't say anything else. He chatted with Haitian a bit more before going to discuss the auction with the staff. Zhao Long, on the other hand, went to have dinner with Chen Tian. With this relationship, he wouldn't be Zhao Long if he didn't take advantage of the situation. In these 2 days, Zhao Long had achieved the first step of his life's goal of planning and progress. He pretended to reveal his heart, fooled his grandpa, and successfully grasped House Wu's relationship with him. House Kang's promotion to noble house was basically a done deal. How could Zhao Long not be happy? The only regret was that he didn't want to part with Wang Xinyan, but he had no choice. This Wang Xinyan wasn't someone he could play with casually, and if he didn't want her, it would bring trouble to House Kong. Although House Xiao was down and out, a starving camel was still bigger than a horse. Zhao Long didn't want to bring trouble to House Kong. Forget it. Who knew which bastard would take advantage of such a flower in the future? Zhao Long shook his head and went to have fun with Chen Tian, throwing the matter of Wang Xinyan to the back of his mind. But this way, Wang Xinyan had peace. Without Zhao Long's harassment, life returned to normal. Not long after Miracle Dr. Kong left, Haitian was in the middle of a discussion with his uncle about House Kong when his confidant called again. Haitian frowned. Why were there so many things happening today? But he still picked up the phone. What's up? I'm busy. Haitian told him about his situation first. His meaning was clear. If you don't have anything important, you could talk to me later. Mr. Yu, Mr. Lai Changyi, and Professor Guan Xiumin from Miracle Dr. Guan's medical company, as well as a young gentleman, are here. They want to see you, his confidant reported. Chapter 525. Shocked to death, the middle-aged man from House Yu, Haitian's second uncle, was stunned as well. Why was Guan Xiumin here? He wasn't surprised by the 2 miracle doctors appearing at the same time, but by the fact that Guan Xiumin would come here personally to meet with House Yu. Guan Xiumin's attitude towards the big houses had always been neutral. He didn't get too close to any of them, but he didn't get too far either. His medical skills were superb, but he played his part. He didn't charge a lot, and he didn't put on airs. Guan Xiumin was highly regarded by all the big houses. Moreover, Guan Xiumin was a person that all the big houses wanted to rope in. After all, who wouldn't get sick when they ate only 5 grains? Knowing a miracle doctor was the same as having a life guarantee. However, Guan Xiumin didn't accept the invitation from any of the big houses, and he wouldn't take the initiative to visit them. House Yu had suggested for House Guan to become a noble house more than once, but Guan Xiumin never agreed. Guan Shuimin knew very well that being a noble house was just a temporary glory. He didn't have a successor, and no one could ensure the prosperity of House Guan for generations to come. Guan Shuimin basically didn't have any feelings for his eldest son's bloodline, and the only heir left was Guan Xin. Girls had to marry eventually, and being a noble house wasn't that important anymore. If his granddaughter found a capable man, she would naturally live a life of wealth. It didn't matter if House Guan was a noble house or not. This was why Xu Min's visit this time surprised House Yu. Second uncle, should I go receive him? Yu Haitian wasn't an idiot. If Dr. Kong was here, he would have to ask his second uncle. But if Miracle Dr. Guan was here, he had to receive him. I'll go with you. The middle-aged man hesitated before standing up. Yu Haitian was taken aback, but he understood immediately. With Guan Shuimin's identity, it was worth it for his second uncle to receive him personally. Even the heir of the hidden house behind House Yu was on par with Guan Shuimin in terms of medical skills. After instructing his men to be respectful, Yu Haitian and his second uncle came to the guest room and saw Guan Shuimin, Lai Changyi, and Lin Yi walking in together. Professor Guan, what a rare guest. The middle-aged man walked over first and shook Guan Shuimin's hand passionately. His expression was so warm that even Yu Haitian was surprised. Haha, you're the second son of House Yu, right? What was it called? I'm getting old and my memory is getting worse, but sometimes I don't see it. Guan Shuimin, on the other hand, nodded at the middle-aged man calmly. He did not appear overly surprised or enthusiastic. Yeah, I'm Mercury, Shuaixing. The middle-aged man didn't seem to mind Shuimin's attitude at all. He was still very enthusiastic. You treated my illness when I was young. Yes, I remember. Guan Shuimin nodded. Mercury. After exchanging greetings with Shuimin, Yu Shuaixing turned to Haitian. Haitian, what are you waiting for? This is your Grandpa Guan. Grandpa Guan. Haitian called out respectfully. Guan Shuimin nodded in acknowledgement. He had always been like this. He didn't have much enthusiasm for anyone. It was only in front of Lin Yi that he would be overly enthusiastic. People of learning would usually admire people who were more knowledgeable than themselves. So this was an exception. Professor Guan, what can I do for you to come at this time? Shuaixing wouldn't beat around the bush with Guan Shuimin. If he could do it, he would do his best. I'm just here to help out. Lin and I are here to accompany Fatty Lai. Shuimin joked. It was rare for Guan Shuimin to crack a joke, and he'd changed the way he addressed Lai Changyi to Fatty Lai. Haha, Professor Guan, you sure know how to joke. Shuaixing laughed as well. Chairman Lai, what's the matter? Because of Shuimin, Shuaixing was very polite to Lai Changyi. It was just that he couldn't figure out Lin Yi's identity. He sent Kuan to follow him yesterday, but Lin Yi found out. It's nothing big. Our Miracle Dr. Guan Medical Company is planning to add another item to the auction tomorrow. Fatty Lai said, Oh, there's another item? Haitian's eyes lit up. The reaction from the pill of life extension and toxin cleansing yesterday was unprecedented. If Fatty Lai really had another item to auction, it would be beneficial to the auction. We do, but we didn't bring it out before because we were afraid that people would say we're imitating that Dr. Kong. But we do have an injury medicine that's similar to the Golden Creation, so we're auctioning the special edition tomorrow, Fatty Lai said. Oh, you're auctioning the special edition as well? Haitian's expression was a little strange, but he still said, House Kong has prepared 100 copies of Dr. Kang's special edition for auction tonight. It should be enough to satisfy the demand of the auction. Haitian didn't continue because he trusted Fatty Lai. He knew that Fatty Lai would understand what he was going to say. If they were to auction it tomorrow, there wouldn't be a market for it. The people who should have bought it had already bought it. Although the pill of life extension and toxin cleansing caused a stir, the special edition of the injury medicine wouldn't be the same. I don't know what their special edition Golden Creation does, but our special edition injury medicine has extraordinary effects. Fatty Lai waved his hand and said nonchalantly, I'm not worried about selling good stuff. How can Miracle Dr. Guan Medical Company's product be compared to Dr. Kang's trash? Shuaixing understood what was going on and waved his hand. Haitian, you don't have to worry about it. Let's hear the effects of this special edition injury medicine first. Yes, second uncle. Haitian was shocked. Yeah, Miracle Dr. Guan Medical Company's products were so amazing. How could they be compared to Dr. Kang's? Hee hee, our special edition injury medicine doesn't only have the basic effects of the injury medicine, but it also has the effect of beautifying the skin. Not only could it heal wounds quickly without leaving scars, but it could also repair some old scars and completely remove these old scars. Of course, that's only the main effect. There are many other auxiliary effects, like beautifying the skin, improving the skin tone, removing dark skin, shrinking pores, and so on. Fatty Lai continued. Wah! Haitian's eyes widened, and Shuaishing looked like he'd seen a ghost. Chapter 526. Chapter 526. The same auction item. What's wrong? You don't believe me? Fatty Lai was puzzled by the Yu family's expressions. It's not that we don't believe you. Shuaishing smiled bitterly. We're just shocked. Oh, I see. Fatty Lai thought that they were shocked by the special edition injury medicine, but he didn't expect it to be because of something else. There's a total of 20 bottles. The starting price is 500,000. Mr. Yu, you can decide what to do with the rest. 20 bottles? You have in stock? Haitian's eyes widened. Yes. Fatty Lai almost cursed. What was he supposed to say if he didn't have it? But because of Shuaishing's identity, he didn't do anything out of line. Second uncle, what do you think? Haitian looked at Shuaishing, troubled. Ha. Then let's make it the finale of tomorrow's auction. Shuaishing smiled. I think there'll be a rush to buy it. 500,000 is too cheap. 1 million. All right. Yu Haitian heard that his second uncle had made his decision, so he didn't say anything else. 1 million wasn't out of Fatty Lai's expectations. To him, the more expensive the item, the better. He placed the suitcase on the table. The special edition injury medicine is in here. Please check it out, Mr. Yu. As for the introduction, it's all written and placed inside. Haitian opened the suitcase and was taken aback. Was this the special edition injury medicine? Why did these broken white plastic bottles look like spices? This is the special edition? Haitian couldn't help but ask. Haha, it's a last-minute preparation. There's no packaging. Fatty Lai smiled. Haitian was speechless, but he believed that Fatty Lai wouldn't lie to him with trash. This thing should be effective. He nodded. All right, I'll go register it later. After chatting with Fatty Lai for a while, Guan Xiumin, Fatty Lai, and Lin Yi left the auction hall. Shuaishing would naturally spare no effort to rope in someone like Guan Xiumin. Moreover, Miracle Dr. Guan's medical company's products weren't ordinary. After sending Guan Xiumin off, Shuaishing wanted to laugh. Dr. Kong had brought a skin-beautifying golden creation, and he wanted to use it as a bargaining chip to enter a noble house. If it was any other time, it would have been enough, but Guan Xiumin just had to bring the exact same product. And he had it in stock. If Dr. Kong knew about this, wouldn't he cry? He had wanted to use this to build a relationship, but the other party had already turned it into a product for sale. Who else could he sell his pre-sale product to? Second uncle, today's situation is really complicated. Yu Haitian sighed. Actually, it's nothing for House Kong. Kong. Shuaishing sighed. It's not Kong. Kongri Doctor Family Kong. Guan 7 Young 6. That's right. Tonight, will the two pre-sale products of a skin-beautifying golden creation from the Kong family still be auctioned? Yu Haitian asked. Why wouldn't we? Shuaishing smiled. What's wrong with that? We won't buy it. As for the others, they can buy it if they want. You're right. We're just helping them with the auction anyway. It's not our fault if people don't buy it. Haitian nodded. That night, the second auction began. Xiao Xiao called Lin Yi the moment she woke up, but Lin Yi didn't have time to talk to her. He only asked if Tian Long was back yet, and after learning that he wasn't, he rejected Xiao Xiao's suggestion. But at the auction, he couldn't avoid running into Xiao Xiao again. Lin Yi. Xiao Xiao ran to Lin Yi with 2 bottles of drink, her face a little red, as if remembering what happened last night. You're fine now? Lin Yi took the drink from Xiao Xiao. His relationship with Xiao Xiao was a little weird, and Tian Long was involved as well. It gave Lin Yi a headache. "Oh, I'm fine." Xiao Xiao shook her head, her usual generosity replaced by shyness. Xiao Xiao's expression made Lin Yi feel even more helpless. He had to admit that Lin Yi was a little moved yesterday, but it was pure lust, not because he liked Xiao Xiao. But Xiao Xiao's condition yesterday made Lin Yi feel weird. He'd never seen anything like this before. "Xiao Xiao, we had some issues before, but I saved you yesterday." Lin Yi sighed. "I think we'll call it even." Xiao Xiao blinked, but she understood what Lin Yi meant. Lin Yi didn't want her to take revenge on him anymore. But did she still want to take revenge on him now? If Lin Yi didn't bring it up, Xiao Xiao wouldn't have felt anything. But now that Lin Yi brought it up, Xiao Xiao suddenly realized that her hatred for Lin Yi had lessened. She wasn't screaming for revenge like before, but there were some complicated emotions mixed in. She let this Lin Yi guy see her naked, and he didn't say anything. Did he want to let it go, just like that? What issues do we have? Didn't we resolve it a long time ago? Xiao Xiao made up her mind and looked at Lin Yi, confused. "Xiao Xiao, let's not beat around the bush. What do you want?" Lin Yi didn't seem to care about Xiao Xiao's innocence. I like you. I just want to be with you. I don't want to do anything else." Xiao Xiao looked at Lin Yi wronged. "Don't tell me you don't want to be responsible for me anymore." Lin Yi was speechless. He knew that talking to Xiao Xiao wouldn't have any effect, so he just ignored her. Xiao Xiao wasn't angry. Lin Yi ignored her, and she just flipped through the catalog in her hands. The lights gradually dimmed, and the spotlights on the auction stage lit up. Yu Haitian walked out from behind the curtain, bowed politely, and said, "Welcome to the second round of the auction." Lin Yi wasn't interested in most of the auction items. Other than some expensive antiques, there were some famous celebrities dating, and some jewelry. Finally, it was the Wani Yankin box that Lin Yi was interested in. Fatty Lai, who was about to fall asleep, sat up straight with a bang. Lin Yi found it funny. This guy was a genius. Was this even possible? Chapter 5:27. Cheating others. The auction continued, but it wasn't as heated as the pill of life extension and toxin cleansing the day before. Although the items being auctioned weren't cheap, there weren't many bidders, and the bidding wasn't intense either. Many people gave up after seeing that there were people fighting over the items. It wasn't something that could be taken or not, and there wasn't a need to ruin their relationship over these things. These people are really rich. Xiao Xiao couldn't help but click her tongue when she heard the tens of millions. "I could buy a Ferrari with just a little bit of it. Didn't you cheat Wu Chintian enough yesterday?" Lin Yi said, amused. "Heh. Who told him to mess with me?" Xiao Xiao said matter-of-factly. "I cheated him a lot. He's lucky I didn't teach him a lesson." Right? Lin Yi, why did you come to the auction? You and them. Xiao Xiao didn't think much about it before, but when she remembered that Fatty Lai called Lin Yi boss, her eyes widened. "You're that Fatty's boss?" A few black lines appeared on Lin Yi's forehead. He was a little speechless. He neglected the fact that Xiao Xiao was beside him, and he hadn't told Fatty Lai what to watch out for, and now Xiao Xiao saw through him. "That Fatty's the CEO of a pharmaceutical company. He saw that I'm strong, so he wanted to be my follower," Lin Yi explained. "Oh, I see. That Fatty seems to be very rich." Xiao Xiao narrowed her eyes at Fatty Lai. "Hey, Fatty, I'm your sis-in-law. Aren't you going to give me a gift?" "What?" Fatty Lai's eyes widened as he looked at Lin Yi, confused. "Ignore her. She's sick." Lin Yi waved his hand, gesturing for Fatty Lai to ignore Xiao Xiao. Fatty Lai laughed dryly and turned his head away, wondering if this girl had anything to do with his boss. "That's all. He seems to listen to you a lot. Don't tell me you have a share in that pharmaceutical company?" Xiao Xiao wasn't stupid. Naturally, she didn't believe Lin Yi's words. Was it just martial arts that could make that fatty listen to her like that? That doesn't seem possible, right? Lin Yi ignored her and turned his attention to the auction stage. The next auction item was the Millennium Snow Lotus, but Lin Yi's target was the box that contained the Snow Lotus. "TSK, if you don't want to say it, then I won't." Xiao Xiao was a little embarrassed that Lin Yi was ignoring her again. Why was she so bad at his eyes? How was Tang Yin stronger than him? The next auction item is a 1,000-year-old snow lotus. The auctioneer slowly placed a delicate wooden box on the stage and said slowly, I believe everyone knows the uses of the Millennium Snow Lotus, so I don't need to explain. Everyone knows that a snow lotus is rare even in 100 years, let alone a Millennium Snow Lotus. This 1,000-year-old snow lotus was found in a cave. It's been around for a long time. When it was found, it was stored in this box. After being identified by experts, the age of this snow lotus is at least 1,000 years. The auctioneer went on and on about the origin of the Millennium Snow Lotus. In fact, all of this was stated in the auction booklet, and the auctioneer just repeated it in his own words. The starting price of the Millennium Snow Lotus is 5 million. Let the bidding begin. The auctioneer finished and waited for the people to start bidding. This 1,000-year snow lotus caused a moment of silence. Although most people had heard of the 1,000-year snow lotus, they didn't know how to use it. They weren't researching medicine. Even if they spent 5 million to buy it, it would probably be useless. So most people were just watching, but at this moment, someone called out a price. 6 million. Kong Guifeng stood up and raised his paddle, calling out a price that wasn't too high. As far as he was concerned, there shouldn't be many people competing for the Millennium Snow Lotus, or even none at all. Fatty Lai was watching as well, about to make a move when he saw Kong Guifeng raise his paddle. He froze, but then he remembered that House Kong was also a medical company, so it was normal for them to buy the Millennium Snow Lotus. But he didn't know if they were determined to get it. 8 million. Fatty Lai raised his paddle. However, Fatty Lai had been the focus of the auction yesterday, and his raising of his paddle attracted everyone's attention. It wasn't that Fatty Lai was spending 8 million to buy some Millennium Snow Lotus, but that he and Kong Guifeng were at loggerheads. Yesterday, Fatty Lai and Kong Guifeng were competing for the pill of life extension and toxin cleansing, and today they were competing again. But even though Fatty Lai and Kong Guifeng were competing, no one else dared to interfere. First, these two weren't easy to mess with, especially Fatty Lai, who had Guan Shuamin behind him. Who would want to offend him? Wouldn't it be asking for trouble if they caused trouble now? Second, the Millennium Snow Lotus was useless to them, so no one would bid for it. 10 million. Kong Guifeng's face darkened. He didn't think that Fatty Lai would interfere. He thought he could get the Millennium Snow Lotus for 6 million, but now he had no choice but to raise the price to 10 million. 15 million. Fatty Lai didn't wait for Kong Guifeng's voice to finish before calling out a new price. Fuck! Kong Guifeng's face turned the color of a pig's liver as he cursed under his breath. He looked at Dr. Kong. Father, this Fatty Lai is obviously here to cause trouble. He screwed us over yesterday, and I'm guessing he's thinking the same thing today. Kong Guifeng couldn't be blamed for thinking that way. People of the same trade were enemies, and this was an unchanging rule. It was only natural that Fatty Lai wanted to go against House Kong. We have to get this Millennium Snow Lotus no matter what. It doesn't matter if he's here to cause trouble or not. We can't give up. Dr. Kang's face was unfriendly as well. But in order for House Kong to be promoted to a noble house, they had to get this Millennium Snow Lotus. Otherwise, everything would be over. 20 million. Kong Guifeng called out a higher price, hoping to scare Fatty Lai and make him give up. 25 million. Fatty Lai wasn't scared at all, calling out a higher price. 30 million. Kong Guifeng said immediately. 50 million. Fatty Lai said calmly. Kong Guifeng was furious. There were only 2 people bidding. Why did you raise the price by 20 million all of a sudden? What was the meaning of this? Did he have too much money to spend? Or was he just trying to scare people? 55 million. Kong Guifeng looked at his father, who nodded before continuing. Chapter 528. I have a way most of the people of the scene could tell that Fatty Lai didn't really want to buy the Millennium Snow Lotus. Instead, he was just bidding for fun, trying to trick House Kong. Why else would he bid like that? Even if he had money, He wouldn't do it like that, would he? Kong Guifeng's blood rushed to his head. He was about to bid 85 million when Xiaolong stopped him. Xiaolong's mission today was to accompany Wang Xinyan, but now that House Kang's promotion to a noble house was set in stone, he didn't want to accompany Wang Xinyan anymore. He might as well come to the auction and see for himself. Xiaolong, what are you doing? Kong Guifeng frowned. Didn't you hear your grandpa say that we're determined to get it? Dad, it's true that we're determined to get it, but we need to use some strategy. Xiaolong said quickly. Blindly bidding like this will only make the price go higher and higher until it's out of control. Oh, Kong Guifeng was getting impatient. What do you want to say? Hurry up and say it. If we don't bid, we'll be letting someone else buy it. Guifeng, listen to Xiaolong. Let him bid. Dr. Kong had a long talk with Xiaolong yesterday, and after seeing Xiaolong's performance in front of Yuhaitian this morning, he valued Xiaolong a lot more than his eldest son, Kong Guifeng. Kong Guifeng could only keep his mouth shut after hearing his father's words. 86 million. Xiaolong raised the bidding card in his hand and quickly explained to his father and grandpa. Earlier, when we increased the price by 5 million, it showed that we still have a lot of money on hand. This way, if the other side is trying to trick us, they'll definitely continue to increase the price after hearing our increase. So I'm only increasing the price by 1 million to show that we're weak. If they're really trying to trick us, they'll think that we're at our limit and can't afford it anymore. Just like yesterday, they gave up when we couldn't raise the price anymore. If the other party is determined to get it, then whether I add 1 million or 5 million, it will be the same to them. Let's see how they raise the price. In fact, Kong Guifeng also understood this logic, but he was muddle-headed just now. Now that he heard his son's explanation, he realized that he was indeed a little impulsive. Dr. Kong, on the other hand, looked at his eldest grandson with satisfaction. Xiaolong's ability and calmness in handling things were undoubtedly better than anyone else in the Kong family. 100 million. Fatty Lai called out his final bid. Xiaolong didn't think that the opponent would be so determined. He had already shown weakness. Logically speaking, he shouldn't have increased the price like this. If he couldn't afford it, wouldn't he have to buy it? Did he really want to buy it? However, this was also hard to say. Fatty Lai was representing Miracle Dr. Guan's medical company, and House Kong wasn't the only one who needed the 1,000-year-old snow lotus. Other people might need it too. Xiaolong wanted to raise the price, but he couldn't. House Kong really didn't have any money left. Xiaolong wasn't an impulsive and reckless person. He spent 15 million on Wu Qintian yesterday, and House Kong only had around 80 million left. It could be said that the price just now was House Kang's limit. Grandpa, we don't have any money left. Xiaolong took a deep breath and said unwillingly, we still have to buy it first. We can't back out now. Dr. Kong gritted his teeth. This 1,000-year-old snow lotus had to be in his hands, or all of House Kang's plans would be ruined. They had even taken out 2 pre-sale products of the skin-beautifying golden creation for auction tonight. If they couldn't get the 1,000-year-old snow lotus, how were they going to deliver it? Thinking about the golden creation and skin-beautifying golden creation products later, Dr. Kang's heart calmed down a little. 101 million. Xiaolong didn't pretend anymore. Since he had to get it, he might as well raise the price bit by bit. Let's see if Fatty Lai had the patience to keep this up. The price exceeded 100 million, and Fatty Lai had to turn a look at Lin Yi. As far as he was concerned, House Kong was at its limit. He didn't want to give up now. Boss, should we still bid? Fatty Lai whispered. If that box is really that important, I think we should go for it again. We can increase the price appropriately. You just need to control it well. Lin Yi nodded. With the income from yesterday's pill of life extension and toxin cleansing, Lin, he didn't really care about the money. You want that box? Xiao Xiao heard Fatty Lai's words and looked at Lin Yi curiously. You don't want that 1,000-year-old snow lotus? Lin Yi didn't want to explain, but he was afraid that Xiao Xiao's laughter would be heard again. So he explained, what I want is the box outside, not the lotus. What do you want a box for? Xiao Xiao asked curiously. Don't ask so much. I'll tell you when we get back. Lin Yi didn't want to talk too much with Xiao Xiao. What's with your attitude? Xiao Xiao wasn't happy. Hey, if I help you get the box, you'll be my boyfriend? You have a way? Linny asked, ignoring Xiao Xiao's words. Of course. Xiao Xiao nodded and rolled her eyes. Do you agree or not? What do you want to do? Lin Yi, naturally, wouldn't agree to Xiao Xiao's random suggestion. Don't worry about it. If you agree, then it's a deal. Xiao Xiao winked at Lin Yi. Forget it. Lin Yi shrugged. Lin Yi couldn't agree to something like this just because of the box. Oof. Xiao Xiao was furious. She glared at Lin Yi. Then you can't ignore me from now on, okay? We'll talk about it after you get the box. Lin Yi didn't object this time. Now that he had Tianlong, Lin Yi couldn't just ignore Xiao Xiao. Then you have to cooperate for now. Whatever I say later, you can't say no. Xiao Xiao said. Okay. Lin Yi nodded. He could cooperate for a while, as long as she got the box. At this time, the price had risen to 110 million under Fatty Lai in Xiaolong's bidding. The two didn't increase the price by too much. It was a matter of who could last until the end. Xiaolong had just made a bid of 111 million, and Fatty Lai made a bid of 112 million. Chapter 529. Chapter 529. Buying a makeup box. Fatty Lai. Are you fucking doing this on purpose? You went against us yesterday, and you're doing the same today. Kong Guifeng couldn't take it anymore and stood up. House Kong didn't have any money to begin with. If this continued, they wouldn't be able to pay for the Snow Lotus even with the money from the auction tonight. Moreover, the Kong family couldn't go bankrupt just to buy this Millennium Snow Lotus. It wouldn't be a problem if they didn't have a penny in their hands. Xiaolong sighed. It was too late to stop his father, but since he had already gone against Fatty Lai, he couldn't back down anymore. House Kong wasn't afraid of trouble. On purpose? Fatty Lai was about to give up, but after Kong Guifeng's words, he didn't want to give up anymore. He stood up and retorted, What? You're the CEO of Dr. Kang's medical group. Don't you know what an auction is? You can bid, but I can't? Xiaolong had to stand up. He was a member of House Kong, and since his father had stood up, he couldn't just sit back and do nothing. But Xiaolong's voice wasn't as aggressive as Kong Guifeng's. He spoke calmly. Mr. Lai, my dad didn't say that you can't buy it. But what's the use of this Snow Lotus? Can you tell me? This herb is precious, but it's not something that every Chinese medicine prescription needs, right? What's the use of it? Fatty Lai laughed. Do I need to tell you what I'm buying it for? Can't I just buy it for fun? Why don't you tell me what you're buying it for? Xiaolong smiled. Fatty Lai's words were exactly what he wanted. He wanted Fatty Lai to say that, so that he could move on to the next step of his plan. Xiaolong had already planned everything from the moment he stood up. Mr. Lai, I can tell you, Xiaolong said, we're a medical company. Although it's for profit, our goal is to save lives. That's not wrong, is it? Fatty Lai frowned. He didn't know what Xiaolong meant, but he didn't refute. Mr. Lai, the Kong family bought this Millennium Snow Lotus to save lives. As the saying goes, saving a person is like putting out a fire. This Millennium Snow Lotus is a guiding drug. The patient we are treating now only lacks this guiding drug. Xiaolong continued, neither servile nor overbearing. We may have some conflicts between us, but I hope that Mr. Lai will consider the fact that we're both sacred healers and look at the bigger picture and the patients. If you're just buying it for fun, you should give it to us. After all, we need it to save lives. Xiaolong's words silenced the crowd. Xiaolong laughed coldly in his heart. Playing with me? You're still too young. Who the hell do you think you are when it comes to playing dirty? One had to admit that Xiaolong's words had tilted the public's opinion towards House Kong. He'd said he'd buy it to save a life, and if Fatty Lai were to fight with him now, wouldn't that be a little too much? Besides, Fatty Lai had said it himself. It was a fight for fun. You're playing, and he's saving someone. How could it be the same? If you didn't give it to him, then you'd be leaving someone to die. You're also in the medical field. Don't you know about the benevolence of doctor? Was he supposed to watch others die before his eyes? Of course, Xiaolong wasn't afraid that Fatty Lai would change his words and say that he'd bought it to save a life. It was too late to change his words now. How could there be such a coincidence? You're saving someone else's life? He didn't believe that Fatty Lai would do that. he'd be looked down upon even more. Fatty Lai frowned. He wanted to give up already, so he didn't play any tricks with House Kong. He'd just say a few words and be done with it. He didn't expect this Kong kid to be so cunning. With just a few words, he'd put himself in such an unjust position. Fatty Lai had been smart his whole life, but he'd failed miserably. It wasn't Fatty Lai's fault. Even Lin, he had asked him to give up. Why would he bother to deal with House Kong? Who said we're fighting with you for that Millennium Snow Lotus? Xiao Xiao stood up before Fatty Lai could say anything. Oh, did I hear it wrong? Xiaolong smiled faintly. He wasn't angry, but he was frowning in his heart. This Xiao Xiao wasn't a good person. She'd almost killed Chun Tian yesterday. This girl was a sly one. What Millennium Snow Lotus? I want to buy that box. Xiao Xiao pointed at the box with the Millennium Snow Lotus on the stage. I think this box looks good, so I want to buy it as a makeup box. What does it have to do with the Millennium Snow Lotus? Xiao Xiao's words silenced the auction immediately. So Fatty Lai had been bidding for so long just to buy a makeup box for this girl? Xiaolong laughed coldly in his heart. You're spending 100 million on a makeup box? Who are you kidding? Xiaolong didn't believe Xiao Xiao's words at all. He knew that Xiao Xiao was a weird girl who wouldn't even blink an eye at all. From what he could see, Xiao Xiao standing up at this time was probably to help Fatty Lai out. After all, he'd said that he wanted to buy the Millennium Snow Lotus to save a life. And Fatty Lai had no choice but to give it up, but wouldn't he lose face? Xiao Xiao's actions saved Fatty Lai's face. Since she was buying a makeup box and not the Millennium Snow Lotus, she wasn't fighting with him on purpose. Oh, so you're buying a makeup box? Lil Sis Xiao Xiao has quite the unique taste. Xiaolong wasn't Shintian. How could he believe Xiao Xiao's words? Yeah, why don't you give it to me? It's not easy for me to fall in love with something. Xiao Xiao smiled at Xiaolong. She was as cute as she could get. As cute as she could get. Xiaolong humphed coldly. Trying to play this trick with me? It's no use. Do you think I'm Shintian? Do you think I'm that easy to trick? Fine, Xiao Xiao. You made me spend 15 million yesterday, and I haven't even settled the score with you yet. You came to me on your own accord. If I don't teach you a lesson, you'll think that I'm easy to bully, won't you? With that thought, Xiaolong had a plan. He didn't look at Xiao Xiao anymore and turned to Fatty Lai. He asked in a tone that was neither servile nor overbearing. Mr. Lai, so this is the box you want? Not the Millennium Snow Lotus? Yeah, I'm helping her buy this box. Fatty Lai understood what Xiao Xiao was trying to say. He had to cooperate with her, but he didn't know the details of her plan, so he felt awkward. Chapter 530. Chapter 530. Who tricked who? Xiaolong thought to himself. Even if you're a fatty, I'll make you fatter today. I'll make your face even more swollen. Play with me? I'll play you to death. Xiaolong nodded and smiled. Then I'm sorry, I misunderstood, Mr. Lai. It seems that Mr. Lai didn't want to fight with me for the herb, but rather, you wanted to buy the box. I misunderstood you, Mr. Lai. You don't have the heart of a doctor. I'm ashamed. Nonsense, why would I want the herb? It's not delicious and it's not fun. Xiao Xiao humphed. Since you know, why don't you give it to us? Huh? Xiaolong laughed coldly in his heart. Even if you didn't say it, I'd give it to you. But it's not the herb, it's the box. Don't you like the box? Don't you want to use it as a makeup box? Fine, I'll fulfill your wish. Who do you think I am, Xiaolong? You dare to play this game with me? See if I don't cripple you. Haha, of course. Xiaolong smiled. Since it's a misunderstanding, then it's easy. Xiao Xiao dislikes the box, right? How about this, after I get the herb? I'll sell it to you for 50 million. I won't make you spend too much. We'll split it in half and take what we need. What do you think? Xiaolong looked at Fatty Lai and Xiao Xiao darkly. He wanted to see how they were going to deal with this. Xiaolong was sure that Xiao Xiao was lying about buying the box as a makeup box. Haven't you heard of the story of buying the casket and returning the pearls? Who would do such a stupid thing? So, Xiaolong used Xiao Xiao's words to turn the tables on them. In this way, they were caught in a dilemma. If he wanted to save his face, he would have to swallow his pride and take out 50 million to buy the box back. If they were shameless, then Xiaolong wouldn't force them to buy it. But from Xiaolong's point of view, Fatty Lie's company had just been established, and he was a famous person. He wouldn't lose face over something like this. That would be too embarrassing. Dr. Kong and Kong Guifeng looked at Zhao Long in astonishment. They didn't expect Zhao Long to be so shrewd. Not only did he seize the initiative of the auction with just a few words, but he also wanted to sell the wooden box with the snow lotus to Fatty Lie for 50 million. This was simply forcing them to buy and sell. The Kong family was still worried about the lack of funds, but in the blink of an eye, they extorted 50 million from others. Most of the people in the auction didn't think that Xiao Xiao was telling the truth, but there was nothing wrong with Xiaolong's way of handling things. You wanted to buy the box, and he sold it to you. What was wrong with that? You dash. Xiao Xiao pretended to be angry and widened her eyes. She pointed at Xiaolong, speechless. Xiaolong was very pleased with himself. With this little girl's IQ, you can only fool that idiot Wu Qintian. Compared to me, Xiaolong, you're still a long way off. What do you think? You shot yourself in the foot, didn't you? This time, you have no choice but to buy it. All right, 50 million it is then. Thank you, Kong, for helping me. Fatty Lie's expression was also very interesting. He gritted his teeth and said hatefully. After Fatty Lie finished speaking, he sat back down with a gloomy face. However, his heart was bursting with joy. He didn't expect the girl beside his boss to be so powerful. With just a few words, she got the box for half the price. This was amazing. He secretly gave Xiao Xiao a thumbs up. Xiao Xiao grinned and turned to Linny. Hey, I did what I said, didn't I? Huh. Linny didn't expect Xiao Xiao to have so many tricks up her sleeves. She just tricked someone yesterday, and now she's doing it again. Not only that, she made the victim think that she got a great bargain. Aren't you going to thank me? Xiao Xiao was a little displeased. She was taking credit from Linny, but Linny didn't look too happy. Didn't I talk to you? Linny asked. Xiao Xiao turned her head away. What kind of person was this? He helped her out of kindness, but he didn't even say thank you. On the other hand, on Dr. Kang's side, Dr. Kong and Kong Guifeng were both very happy. Dr. Kong even praised. Guifeng, this son of yours is not simple at all. It looks like our house Kong will be flourishing in his hands in the future. This 1,000-year snow lotus worth more than 100 million has been cut in half. Haha, it's just for the sake of the situation, Xiaolong said humbly. 100 million is too high of cost. Even if we make the skin beautifying golden creation, we can only make 30 or so servings. Even if we sell it for 5 million each, it'll barely cover our costs. Although we're doing everything we can to become a noble house, isn't it better if we can save some money? That Xiao Xiao probably hates your guts right now. Dr. Kong smiled happily. People of the same trade are enemies. Even without what happened today, they'd hate each other already. Xiaolong didn't care. He said proudly, that girl was the one who tricked me into eating yesterday. If I don't make her pay, how can I face her? But will they go back on their word? Find some reason to reject it? Kong Guifeng was worried. He was afraid that he'd lose the meat that was right by his mouth. That was 50 million. For the Kong family, this was definitely a huge sum of money. Of course it's possible. That girl is full of bullsh*t. She might say that she doesn't like it anymore and wants to go back on her word. Xiaolong had thought of this. So, we need to hurry. I'll go to the backstage and do the paperwork. We'll sell the box to Fatty Lie in front of everyone. I don't believe that he'll be so embarrassed as to not buy it. Dr. Kong and Kong Guifeng nodded in agreement. Xiaolong's idea wasn't bad. In fact, when Xiaolong brought the box to Fatty Lie looked like he was in pain. He stared at the box in Xiaolong's hands, hesitating to take out the check. Mr. Lai, I've brought the box. Please take a look. Xiaolong wasn't in a hurry. He held the box with a confident look. This box is really pretty. It's a good makeup box. Isn't it a little too expensive? Xiao Xiao curled her lips. Hey, Xiaolong bro, we've eaten together before. Can't you give it to me? Chapter 531. Pay back money without paying then. Make it cheaper. Xiao Xiao said disinterestedly, seeing that she couldn't get Xiaolong to agree. Haha, I'll lose half of the money and sell it to you. Isn't that cheap? Xiaolong smiled. I spent more than 100 million on it. Didn't you want to buy that snow lotus? That's just an accessory. Xiao humphed. 10 million. If it's okay, I'll let him buy it. If it's not okay, then I don't want it. I'm a young girl. What's wrong with going back on my word? Xiao's words were a little shameless, but she also pointed out that she was a girl and a young girl. Even if she acted shamelessly, Xiaolong couldn't do anything to her. Xiaolong sucked in a breath of cold air when he heard that. He had underestimated Xiao. He was sure that Fatty Lai wouldn't go back on his word for the sake of his reputation, but he didn't expect Xiao to go back on her word. And if Xiao went back on her word, no one would be able to say anything. She said she didn't like it and didn't want it anymore, so naturally, Fatty Lai wouldn't buy it anymore. Everything was caused by Xiao, so why would Fatty Lai buy it if she didn't want it anymore? It didn't matter if he lost face or not anymore. Xiaolong frowned. This was a little troublesome. Things were out of his expectations. Xiao really wouldn't give him money so easily. 10 million? Isn't that too little? What if it's not even enough? Xiaolong naturally couldn't insist on 50 million. If he did, there would be no room for discussion. She wouldn't want it anymore. But he couldn't accept the 10 million that Xiao said. You guys want face and less money at the same time. How could there be such a good deal? All right, 20 million is the most I'll give you. I'll remember this. Fatty Lai said faintly. Don't think that you're very smart. We'll see. Deal. Xiaolong heard Fatty Lai's tone and knew that he couldn't persist anymore. She had already gone back on her word. However, it was better than nothing. To him, it was already very good to be able to sell it for 20 million. What else could he ask for? After Xiaolong left, Fatty Lai admired Xiao from the bottom of his heart. Wasn't he too good at playing dirty? Xiaolong must be really unlucky to have met her. I didn't know you had so many tricks up your sleeves. Linny couldn't help but admire Xiao for cutting another 30 million in the blink of an eye. That's right. Humph. Now you know the consequences of messing with me? Xiao looked at Lin Yi, pleased with herself. Let's see if you still dare mess with me. Lin Yi shrugged, not answering Xiao's question. Xiaolong returned to his seat with the 20 million check. He didn't get the 50 million he expected, but even so, Dr. Kong and Kong Guifeng were very happy. If they were to do it, it would be a problem if they could get the Millennium Snow Lotus, not to mention a broken box that could be sold for 20 million yuan. Although the fight for the 1,000-year Snow Lotus had attracted a lot of attention, it came and went quickly. Soon, the auction was coming to an end. During this period, the Kong family's golden creation medicine, which was a must-have item in the auction every year, was also successfully sold out. There were no accidents, and before the auction ended, the most exciting moment for House Kong had arrived. The auctioneer cleared his throat and said loudly to the crowd, "Today, other than the items on the list, we will add another mysterious item as the finale of today's auction." Whoa! Everyone's attention was drawn to the auctioneer. It was not uncommon to add an item at the last minute. It had happened in the past, but it was rare to see an item appear last and be called the finale of the auction. Everyone's eyes widened as they wanted to see what the auctioneer was talking about. The last mysterious item is the newest product brought by Dr. Kang's medical company, Skin Beautifying Golden Creation. The auctioneer announced the name of the item and continued. There are only 2 of these mysterious items, and it's a pre-sale item. The delivery time is 2 months later. Skin Beautifying Golden Creation? What the hell is this thing? Is it also a type of golden creation? The most surprising thing was that there were only 2 of these items, and they were pre-sale items. There was no stock. What kind of high-end medicine was that? The auctioneer was very satisfied with the atmosphere at the scene. Seeing that everyone was discussing and guessing, it meant that this item had the possibility of being sold at a sky-high price. So, he wasn't in a hurry to continue the introduction. Instead, he waited for everyone to finish the discussion before he introduced this skin-beautifying golden creation, as the name suggests. After the auctioneer explained the effects of the skin-beautifying golden creation, the crowd was in an uproar. This kind of medicine that could repair skin scars didn't exist in the world, but the effect wasn't as magical as the auctioneer said. Not only did it not leave any scars, but it could also improve the skin. It sounded like a lie, but those who had used Dr. Kang's golden creation knew that it wasn't a lie. When the men heard the news, they were a little better. However, the women around them were a little crazy. When they heard that there was such a magical thing, how could it be? A rich businessman's wife who came to participate in the auction said to her husband, "The scar from my C-section is still there. It's so ugly. You must buy me a bottle." This rich businessman was a henpecked man. When he heard his wife speak, he nodded repeatedly. Buy, how could he not buy? Besides, wouldn't it be more comfortable to look at after it was cured? Therefore, the rich businessman rubbed his hands together. He had a lot of wealth in his hands, so he was determined to get it. The other rich businessmen also had the same experience. The madams and ladies of the big families were also eager to show off their skills. As for the men, they weren't that interested. How many men cared about scars on their bodies? They weren't going to be models. The starting price of the skin beautifying golden creation is 1 million yuan. Each bid increase must be no less than 500,000 yuan. The auctioneer was very satisfied with the effect of the scene. He didn't know that the same medicine would be auctioned tomorrow. He thought that today's medicine was a limited edition, so he was prepared to sell it for a super high price. 1,500,000. Someone began to bid. 2 million. The person who bid gave the first person a look of disdain. How can you increase the price like this? It's not a good thing, and I asked you to increase it by 500,000 just like that? 3 million. Someone immediately overtook the second person who bid. Soon, the price soared to 5 million. Chapter 532. Chapter 532. You're not sick, one of them was from House Kong. Dr. Kong was smiling as he enjoyed this moment of accomplishment. Kong Guifeng and Kong Xiaolong were the same. The other was from House Yu. House Yu looked at the bustling auction with cold eyes. Anyone who made a deal today would regret it tomorrow. They didn't want the stock, but they bought a pre-sale item. However, House Yu couldn't say it out loud. Fatty Lai and Guan Xiumin were the most confused. Fatty Lai didn't expect Miracle Dr. Kong to come up with a golden creation as well. Boss, don't tell me House Kong found out about our plan. Why did they come up with an auction like this? Did someone from House Yu leak our information? That won't happen. Lin, he smiled faintly. I know which recipe they have. Oh, boss, you know the recipe? Fatty Lai was surprised. Then, our recipe is different from theirs? It's different. Theirs is very expensive. It's filled with expensive herbs. Mine is very ordinary. Lin, he smiled. The reason why they want to buy the Millennium Snow Lotus is probably to make this skin beautifying golden creation. The Millennium Snow Lotus is an essential ingredient for this. I see. No wonder they want it even if it's 100 million. Fatty Lai nodded in realization. If I knew this, I would have bid higher just now. I'll kill them. Didn't we kill them already? Lenny looked at the wooden box in his hand and smiled faintly. 20 million. It's worth it. From the appearance of the wooden box, it was indeed made of Wanyankin wood. However, Lin he didn't know what it was used for and how to use it. He had only read about it in an ancient medical book. He only took a glance at it and didn't read it in detail. Hence, he didn't remember much about it. Praise me. I'm the one who played with it. Xiao Xiao suddenly interrupted. I'll give you a bottle of our special edition injury medicine later. It's about the same as his. Lin, he couldn't just leave it at that. After all, Xiao Xiao played a huge role in getting the Wanyankin box. Boring. I'm not going to remove scars. Xiao Xiao did have scars on her body, but as far as she was concerned, that wasn't important. She was about to die, so why would she care about stuff like that? If he had the time, he might as well do something else. Xiao Xiao's curiosity was piqued. Linny, what did you mean? Fatty Lai's recipe was given by you? Lin he heard Xiao Xiao's words and knew that he had spilled the beans. Xiao Xiao's presence was a hindrance, and it was hard to communicate with Fatty Lai. Don't tell anyone. Lin he looked at Xiao Xiao and said faintly, Then you want me to be your girlfriend? That way, you won't have to worry about me leaking the secret. Feng Xiao Xiao giggled. She had something on Lin E. She couldn't help but feel proud. Okay, tell me. Lin E shrugged nonchalantly. Although Lin E wasn't involved in the medicine company, many people knew that Lin E was the mastermind behind the scenes, so he wasn't afraid of Xiao Xiao finding out. You, Xiao Xiao was furious. Fine, I won't tell you. Tell me, do you know medicine? A little. Lin E didn't hide it anymore. The pill of life extension and toxin cleansing from yesterday. Can you give me one? Xiao Xiao looked at Lin E expectantly. Xiao Xiao had given up on her illness, but who would want to die? She'd heard the auctioneer talk about the pill of life extension and toxin cleansing yesterday, and how it could cleanse one's bones and marrow. It was a miracle pill, and she wondered if it could improve her constitution. No, Lin E shrugged. We want. I'll eat it, Xiao Xiao said. You're not sick. You don't need to eat it. Lin E waved his hand. I'm not sick. How do you know I'm not sick? Xiao Xiao blinked. I've checked, Lin E said, but I don't see anything wrong with you. If there's a problem, eating it won't help. Oh, Xiao Xiao was a little disappointed, but Lin E was right. There was nothing wrong with her body, no matter which hospital she went to. If Lin E really did notice something was wrong, then he'd be a god. You didn't have any signs of life in you before. Lin E frowned, but shook his head. You would understand even if I told you. It's a little weird. It's the first time I've met someone like you. Xiao Xiao blinked. She didn't think that Lin E would actually notice something was wrong with her body. But what was life? Xiao Xiao really didn't understand what Lin E meant. Then would you believe me if I said I'm going to die? Xiao Xiao asked after some hesitation. You won't die. Lin E looked at Xiao Xiao. You're still normal for now. Oh. Xiao Xiao didn't continue. She told Lin E about her situation because she wanted to see if Lin E had a solution, but she didn't want Lin E to pity her. In the auction, the price of the skin beautifying golden creation skyrocketed. It was already sold for 10 million. Dr. Kong couldn't stop smiling. He didn't expect this thing to be this valuable. The cost was reduced even more. The first skin beautifying golden creation was sold to a wealthy businessman at the price of 11 million. The noble houses didn't rush to make a move. They understood that since this medicine belonged to House Kong, they would definitely prepare it for them. They knew what House Kong was thinking. If they wanted to become a noble house, they needed to show some sincerity. So they didn't participate, but they still paid attention to it. The second pre-sale item was also sold for 11,500,000. The buyer was also a rich businessman. This was what House Kong wanted to see. They didn't want the noble houses to make a move now. If that happened, their plan wouldn't be able to go smoothly. He wanted to meet with the people in charge of the noble houses after the auction and give each of them a skin beautifying golden creation. Now that these people had benefited from him, he believed that they would definitely support him during the clan assembly. The second day of the auction ended smoothly. With Haitian's help, Dr. Kong met with the people in charge of the 4 noble houses and 5 small noble houses. Chapter 533. Chapter 533. House Yu's attitude hearing that House Kong had something to say. The people in charge of the houses all stayed behind. Most of them understood what House Kong was doing. It had to have something to do with the skin beautifying golden creation. In one of the meeting rooms of House Yu's auction house, Yu Haitian received the heads of the houses. Wu Gonggao, the head of House Wu, was absent, and Wu Qintian was the representative. Xiao family, on the other hand, sent out their second son, Xiao Ben. Shuaixing didn't show up either, which surprised House Kong. After all, Yu Shuaixing was the one in charge of House Yu's external affairs, and Haitian was only the person in charge of House Yu's external businesses. In the morning, although Shuaixing wasn't there, Dr. Kong wasn't an idiot. He had already guessed that Shuaixing was controlling Haitian from behind. He thought that after throwing out enough chips, he would be able to see Shuaixing at night. But Shuaixing did have the right to put on airs, and Dr. Kong didn't think too much about it. Plus, this unexpected thought was fleeting. Very quickly, Dr. Kong was overwhelmed by the joy and hope of becoming a noble house. Dr. Kong, Second uncle has something to do tonight, so he won't be coming. He asked me to represent him, Haitian said faintly as he looked at Dr. Kong. His tone wasn't as warm as it was in the morning, but Miracle Dr. Kong didn't mind. He thought that Haitian was doing this on purpose for others to see. After all, Housey was the organizer of this event, and they couldn't just stand behind the other houses. That would cause a huge chain reaction. It's okay, Mr. Yu is busy, so he doesn't have to participate. Hearing Haitian's explanation, Dr. Kong thought that Haitian was giving him face, and he was even happier. Old Kong, why did you call us here? The one who spoke was the head of House Song, Song Xianwen. House Song was one of the 4 great worlds, an ancient martial arts house. There was a mystic class master in the house, and he was the younger brother of the head, Song Xianwen. But because he had no hope of breaking through, he went out to train and had yet to return. Otherwise, House Song wouldn't be any less famous than House Wu. But even so, Song Xianwen's words were still very firm, and this had something to do with his strength at the peak late phase of the Golden Class. I've called all of you here because I have a piece of good news to announce. Dr. Kong stood up and nodded at the representatives of each family. Then, he continued, after many years of dedicated research, our Kong family has finally made a breakthrough and developed the skin-beautifying golden creation. I won't go into too much detail about the effects of this medicine. It's just that it's still in the research phase and can't be mass-produced, so we've only produced a small batch. Apart from the 2 batches that will be auctioned off, we're prepared to give the rest to the aristocratic families first. Song Xianwen nodded with satisfaction after listening. Your approach is very good. Don't let the goodies flow to the outsiders. Song Xianwen was old but strong. After his first wife died, he remarried. Just now, his second wife was urging him to snatch the 2 skin beautifying golden creation medicine. Song Xianwen was a sly old fox. Naturally, he would not do such a stupid thing. As a matter of fact, as soon as the auction ended, someone came knocking on his door. All the aristocratic families have a share, and the price is very good as well. It's only 5 million per bottle. Dr. Kong saw everyone's expression and knew that his plan worked. These people seemed to have a good impression of him. 5 million, not expensive. Song Xianwen nodded. Other than Xiao Bin, the other aristocratic families here didn't care about 5 million. They only cared about their face. As long as it was cheaper than the auction price, it would be giving them face. Plus, it was half the price. I've prepared a total of 20 bottles. Apart from the 2 that were sold in the auction, there are 18 bottles left. There are 9 aristocratic families here, and each house can get 2 bottles. Dr. Kong smiled. But if any house doesn't want it, you can give it to someone else. Who wouldn't want something like this? Only an idiot. But there really was an idiot. But was the person who appeared really an idiot? House Yu doesn't want it. If any of you want it, you can take it. Yu Haitian's brainless words made the atmosphere turn cold. Even Dr. Kang's expression froze. He didn't know what Yu Haitian meant by this. Yu Haitian saw everyone's expression and smiled faintly. As the host of the auction, House Yu shouldn't fight with everyone. I was scolded by my second uncle yesterday. Naturally, Yu Haitian wouldn't say that the same thing would appear tomorrow, and the price was only 1 million. House Yu naturally didn't want to increase the number of aristocratic houses, even if they were weaker than the 5 small aristocratic houses. They took advantage of them. If that was the case, House Yu naturally wouldn't give House Kong anything to talk about. When everyone heard Yu Haitian's words, they immediately understood. So that was the case. Hence, the remaining 2 bottles of skin beautifying golden creation were snatched away by the other aristocratic families. Although Dr. Kong didn't have anything to do with the promotion, he believed that everyone here knew what House Kong was thinking. Now that they were benefiting from House Kong, even if they didn't support it, they wouldn't cause trouble for House Kong. So with this, House Kang's promotion to a noble house was a done deal under House Yu's leadership, as long as there were no accidents. Walking out of the auction hall, Dr. Kang's face was filled with excitement and relief. Based on my dragon grandson's performance this time, you have made a great contribution. Dr. Kong looked at Zhao Long, getting happier and happier. He felt that under his leadership, House Kong would definitely prosper. Kong Guifeng was happy as well. His son's performance was good, and the position of the head of the house was basically set. Even if the old man passed away one day, Cuipu wouldn't be able to compete with him. Xiaolong was already the third head of the house. What else could Cuipu fight for? Grandpa, you're flattering me. I'm just doing my duty. I'm also a member of House Kong. Naturally, I want the best for House Kong, Xiaolong said humbly. Yes, we're all doing this for House Kong. Dr. Kong nodded. This time, there shouldn't be any accidents with House Kong becoming a noble house. Grandpa, why do I feel that Yu Haitian's attitude is a little weird tonight? Xiaolong frowned. He felt that Yu Haitian's attitude wasn't right, but he couldn't tell what it was. Weird? House Yu won't openly support us in front of other people. They have to put on an act for others to see. Miracle Dr. Kong was so excited that he couldn't listen to anything else. Chapter 534. Phew. Lenny laid on the bed in the hotel room and let out a long breath. He thought that he would be able to face House Yu calmly. In fact, he tried his best to stay calm. But after he calmed down, he couldn't help but think of that beautiful face and her sad eyes. Ning, are you okay? He shook his head in self-mockery. It was all in the past. Why was he still holding a grudge against her? Did he leave because he thought that his identity was not good enough for her? Or was it because he couldn't give her a stable life? Or was it because he was young and didn't want to be restrained by love and family? Or was it because he found out about her secret and chose to escape? Lenny didn't know. He couldn't explain it either. His state of mind then was completely different from his current state of mind. Back then, he was nervous all the time. But now he was relaxed. He got up from the bed and went to the bathroom. He turned on the shower and walked in. He felt much more refreshed. He silently channeled the art of dragon mastery. Golden Class mid-phase made Lenny smile. Last night, he recovered to Golden Class mid-phase. The speed was fast, but this wasn't something to be happy about. The closer he got to his original strength, the slower the progress. In fact, he recovered to Golden Class mid-phase in the first half of the night. There was no progress in the second half. After taking a shower, he dried his hair and looked at his phone. There were 2 missed calls. He thought that it was Tang Yin, but it wasn't. One was Xiao Xiao, and the other was Kong Xiaobo. He called Kong Xiaobo first. Kong Xiaobo picked up quickly. Boss, why didn't you pick up? I took a shower. What's the matter? He asked. Boss, did you get into an argument with sis-in-law Tang Yin? Kong Xiaobo asked. No, why? He paused. It shouldn't be an argument, right? You just stood her up. Tang Yin wouldn't be that petty, right? I saw sis-in-law Tang Yin's eyes were red, as if she cried the whole night. Kong Xiaobo said, did something happen to her family? Her family? He paused, thinking that it was possible. Maybe Tang Yun's family was in trouble, and he didn't know Mr. and Mrs. Tang's phone numbers, so he didn't know how to contact Tang Yun. This lass even turned off her phone. It was really worrying. So he said, help me ask her or Lu Xinwen tomorrow, and then give me a call back. Since Tang Yin could still go to school, it shouldn't be a big problem. But Kong Xiaobo said that Tang Yin cried the whole night. Her eyes were red, and it made Lin Yi's heart ache. He wasn't someone who was good at expressing his emotions. Other than training, he was on missions. The only family he had was his master and his old man, but they were very strict. Okay, I'll ask now. I have Lu Xinwen's number, Kong Xiaobo agreed. After hanging up the call with Kong Xiaobo, he called Xiao Xiao back. What's up? I helped you so much today. Aren't you going to thank me? Xiao Xiao giggled. I'm busy. If there's nothing else, I'll hang up. He was waiting for Kong Xiaobo's call. He didn't want to waste time with Xiao Xiao. Hey, what do you mean? He doesn't want it anymore after using it? Xiao Xiao was panicking, accusing Yi of being unreasonable. Use it. Throw it away. Yi was speechless. Wasn't that a little too ambiguous? What does she mean by throw it away? It sounded like he did something to her. Then how do you want to thank me? He could only ask. Treat me to a feast. I want to eat good food. Xiao Xiao said. I can't afford seafood. Beef noodles, then. You don't have to eat if you don't like it, Yi said faintly. Oh, okay. Xiao Xiao nodded casually. It doesn't matter what we eat. The important thing is who we eat with. Lin, he was speechless. He didn't know what was wrong with Xiao Xiao's brain. She was either hinting at him or confessing. Lin, he didn't believe that this girl would fall for him after teaching her a few lessons. Wasn't she a masochist? Not long after, Kong Xiaobo called back. Boss, did you break up with Tang Yin? Why did Lu Xinwen say that you're ungrateful and don't want Tang Yin anymore? What? Linny blinked. Don't want Tang Yin anymore? Broke up? When did that happen? You don't know. Kong Xiaobo blinked as well. I've been in Yinjing the whole time. How would I know? Lin, he smiled bitterly. Lu Xinwen didn't lie to you, right? I don't know. Who knows what happened? I called, and Lu Xinwen started yelling at me. She told me to tell you that Tang Yin doesn't want to be with you. You don't want her anymore. There's a lot of people waiting in line for you. Xiaobo was quite troubled as well. It was a wasted call. I'll ask him what's going on tomorrow. All right, help me ask her tomorrow. Linny frowned. Was there some misunderstanding? Tang Yin wasn't that petty. She thought that he didn't want her anymore just because he stood her up once, right? Less than a minute after he hung up on Kong Xiaobo, Xiao Xiao called again. Linny, why did you hang up on me? Is this how you treat pretty girls? Xiao Xiao was really pissed. Why? Where I did Lin, he have to ignore her. She wanted him to treat her to a meal, but he didn't even want to. It was as if she really wanted that meal. Is Uncle Feng back yet? Lin, he didn't linger on the topic of Xiao Xiao. If he did, there'd be no end to it. He just changed the topic. This was something he learned from Yushu. No. What? You're in a hurry to see your father-in-law. Xiao Xiao teased. Lin, he didn't expect Xiao Xiao to bring the topic back with just one sentence. He couldn't help but admire Xiao Xiao. This girl was quite a match for Yushu. One acted dumb, and the other acted like an oddball. Neither of them were easy to deal with. Then call me when Uncle Feng comes back. I'm going to sleep. Lin, he was about to hang up. Hey, wait. When are you going to treat me to beef noodles? I want a big bowl with meat. Xiao Xiao said. Chapter 535. Master Bing is here. Then you can't go back on your word. Xiao Xiao reminded. I won't. Lin, he said helplessly. All right, I'll let you go for now. Xiao Xiao hung up the phone, satisfied. She waved her fist excitedly. Yay, I'll make you treat me to beef noodles when we get back to school. I'll piss Tang Yin off. Songshan, Starlight Hotel, in the top private room. Sihua stood beside a young man and filled up the wine glass in front of him. Master Bing, do you have any new instruction from the boss? Oh, my dad didn't say anything. He just wanted you to cooperate with me. Qibing waved his hand nonchalantly, as if he didn't put Sihua in his eyes at all, this big boss of the underworld who could shake the entire Songshan city with a single stomp. However, Sihua wasn't annoyed. He understood his position. In the eyes of the boss, he was just a dog. Although Qibing was his illegitimate son, he was still the young master. What good would it do to him if he didn't serve him well? Of course, I'll do whatever you say, Master Bing. Sihua said respectfully. How's the real estate company I want? I heard that it's very profitable. Have you settled the company yet? Qibing asked bluntly. It's done. All the procedures are ready. I've already informed Jin Gubong. He'll be here soon. Sihua said quickly. We're just waiting for you to give the company a name. Jin Gubong? Is he the chairman of Pengzhan Industries? Qibing clearly had an impression of Jin Gubong's name. He lost to that old fox Pengzhan and got kicked out of the company. Sihua said, but it doesn't matter. It won't affect your company. Jin Gubong invested his own money to open a real estate company for you. Oh, at least he's smart. Sihua nodded in satisfaction. Since he's the investor, I'll give him 20% of the shares later. He'll be the general manager and help me manage the company. Jin Gubong will be grateful if he knows about it. He'll work for you with all his heart. Sihua said respectfully. There was a knock on the door just as they were talking. Who is it? Sihua asked. It's me, Jin Gubong. Gubong's voice sounded from outside. Come in, Sihua said faintly. Gubong pushed the door open and saw Sihua standing respectfully beside a young man. He He paused for a moment before remembering that this was the legendary Master Bing. Master Bing, Sihua bro, he said with a flattering smile. You're Jin Gubong? Sit, tell me about the real estate company. Master Bing nodded and pointed at the seat across from him. Thank you, Master Bing. Gubong's heart was bleeding, but there was nothing he could do. His previous actions were a double loss. Not only did he lose his position as the chairman of Pengzhan Industries, but he was also kicked out of the company. Now, all his assets were used to set up a real estate company. After he walked out of the room, he was penniless. Sihua, tell him what I said just now. Let him know what's going on. Qibing ordered. Sihua nodded. Old Jin, Master Bing is a good master. He won't mistreat loyal subordinates like us. Yes, yes, Gubong replied, smiling bitterly in his heart. That's for you. He won't mistreat you. You tricked a real estate company from me as a gift. Wouldn't he reward you if he was happy? What about me? I'll have nothing if I give you the real estate company. Master Bing said that you're the one who invested in this company, so he's going to reward you with 20% of the shares and hire you as the general manager. You'll be working for Master Bing in the future. Do you have any objections? Sihua asked. Gubong paused. Giving him shares? Making him the general manager? Wasn't this a good thing? Although it was a bit too much to reward him with the shares of the company, he started with his own money. The situation was pressing. Gubong was already surprised that Master Bing would treat him like this. Plus, he was kicked out of Pengzhan Industries, and the relationship he had with Pengzhan Industries wasn't working anymore. He didn't have any funds in his hands, and it was basically impossible for him to make a comeback. Qibing, on the other hand, was giving him a chance, and Gubong was pleasantly surprised. Besides, working under Zhao Qibing was very beneficial as well. With such a strong backing, the company would definitely be able to prosper. At the very least, Sihua was on his side now. Everyone was working for Master Bing, and his position would rise as well. He'd settle the score with Pengzhan then. Master Bing, you're too good to me. Gubong, don't know how to talk, but I'll do my best to live up to your expectations. I'll do anything for you. Gubong clenched his fists, feeling that his life was full of hope again. All right, don't think I don't know what you're thinking. You want to use my power to expand the company and get revenge on Pengzhan? Qibing said faintly. Master Bing, I didn't mean it that way. Gubong was startled. He thought that Master Bing was just a spoiled brat, but he didn't expect him to have such sharp observation skills. He'd seen through his intentions in such a short amount of time. You know better than anyone else whether you have it or not. Qibing curled his lips. But you don't have to be afraid. I like my men to be ambitious, and I'm happy to see you use the power I give you to get rid of your enemies. But what I want is your loyalty. As long as you're loyal to me, I'll give you what you want. Yes, don't worry, Master Bing. I'll do what you ask of me. Gubong clenched his teeth. I'm your dog, Master Bing. I'll bite whoever you want me to bite. Although it sounded like he was insulting himself, Gubong had thought it through. It wasn't easy for him to find a backer like this, and whether or not he could prosper in the future depended on Qibing. Qibing nodded, satisfied. All right, since we're on the same side, there's no need to be so polite. Eat and drink, and we'll discuss the company's development. Chapter 536. Pinliang on the move. You don't have to be so nervous. Don't you want Pengzhan's company? Qibing smiled nonchalantly. I want to do it too. Gubong paused, not understanding what Qibing meant. Pengzhan's daughter is quite pretty. I've been wanting to play with her for a long time, but I never had the chance. I can't do anything before Pengzhan loses his power. Qibing chuckled. I don't mind playing with his daughter after you destroy his company. Oh, okay. Master Bing, don't worry. Under your leadership, I'll destroy him sooner or later. Gubong patted his chest confidently. All right, let's put this aside for now. Tell me, how can our real estate company make money? Zhao Qibing didn't lack money. His company was purely for fun, but it wasn't completely for fun. He also wanted to make some achievements. Although he was an illegitimate child, Qibing still wanted to be recognized for his ability and return to his family. Right now, the slums are one of the better places in Songshan, and if we can get the development rights there, our company would be able to make a name for itself. Gubong said, "That's what I suggested at Sihua Bro." Sihua Bro nodded. "That's what I suggested." "Oh? If you say it's so good, then why hasn't anyone developed this area yet?" Qibing wasn't an idiot. He asked immediately after hearing Gubong's words. "Unruly people. There are too many unruly people." Gubong explained. Pengzhan Industries wanted to develop this area too, but the people in the slums banded together and demanded a high demolition fee. It wasn't worth it at all. Pengzhan is also a stubborn person, refusing to pay for quality. Naturally, there wasn't much profit to be made. The other developers are probably the same. "Oh, then we'll get profits from it?" Qibing asked. "With Sihua Bro around, we can't deal with those unruly people. We'll kill them if they try to extort us." Gubong curled his lips. "Then pay for the quality of the project. The quality of the houses doesn't need to be too good. Just scam them. Don't let others talk about the quality of the house. I heard that the country has a new policy. The developer will be responsible for the quality of the house for life. This will hurt the foundation if there is trouble in the future." Zhao Qibing waved his hand. "As for those relocated households, it doesn't matter. Let's look for benefits from them." "No problem." Gubong was getting more and more convinced that Master Bin wasn't an idiot at all. On the contrary, he was quite thoughtful, not the type to act recklessly. He knew what he could and couldn't do. "Let's go to the slums when we're free these few days," Qibing said. "We need to get the development paperwork done as soon as possible." "That's easy. The city has long wanted to renovate that piece of land. It's just that no developer has taken over. I'll go and settle the paperwork tomorrow." Gubong said casually, "Right, Master Bin? What do you think the company's name is?" "Name? Let's call it Qibing Real Estate," Qibing said casually. Pin Liang had been in an unusually good mood these past 2 days. He felt that his luck had finally turned for the better. The person he hated the most, Lin Yi, hadn't come to school for a few days. Without Lin Yi messing around, he could carry out his plans smoothly. "Xiaofu, how's your preparation?" Pin Liang asked Xiaofu. "Liang bro, I've found a cave. It's absolutely safe." Xiaofu chuckled. "I've installed a security door inside. No matter how strong Meng Yao is, she won't be able to escape." "Not bad. Your idea is very creative. It's much better than normal robbers. You're a natural-born villain." Pin Liang laughed upon hearing Xiaofu's idea. "Haha, isn't it all thanks to you, young bro? I wouldn't have thought of such a good idea otherwise." Xiaofu was very pleased. Pin Liang said that he would tie Meng Yao up in the cave, but Xiaofu was afraid that something would happen to Meng Yao after Pin Liang left. What there were wild beasts in the wilderness. And so, Xiaofu installed a security door. Now, no one would be able to open it without a key. "There's food and toys inside, right?" Pin Liang asked. "Of course, I prepared everything." Xiaofu nodded. "The rest is up to you, Liang bro. See how you can trick Meng Yao." "That's up to me. I've thought about it long ago." Pin Liang said confidently. "I know Meng Yao pretty well. I can handle this myself." Pin Liang walked up to Meng Yao and Yushu's table and whispered, "Yao Yao, I have something very important to ask you." Meng Yao raised her head and frowned. "I told you not to call me Yao Yao. Call me Yao Yao, sis, or my full name." "Why is your memory so bad?" "Yeah, Yao Yao, sis. I think little Yang should eat some pills to nourish himself." Yushu nodded. Pin Liang wasn't angry at all. Instead, he said seriously, "All right, I'll call you Meng Yao then. I really have something to talk to you about. These names don't matter." "What is it?" Meng Yao asked impatiently. She was just about to go buy some snacks with Shu when Pin Liang suddenly appeared beside their seat. She didn't know what he wanted. Shu, do you want to leave for a bit?" Pin Liang asked carefully. "Oh." Yushu paused. Pin Liang never asked her to leave whenever he was chasing Meng Yao. He would even ask her to stay and help him. "What did he want today?" "Ahem. Today's business is a bit secretive. It might involve Meng Yao's privacy, so," Pin Yang said in a roundabout way. "Pin Yang, if you have something to say, just say it. If not, Shu and I will go shopping." Ming Yao's patience was at an end. Shu is my best friend. I don't want to hide anything from her. All right, then. I'll say it. Pin Liang actually didn't want Yushu to get involved because of her identity. Pin Liang couldn't help but be wary of her. Do you have something to say or not? Meng Yao glared at Pin Liang. Yes. Meng Yao, you're an only child, right? Pin Liang asked carefully. Only child. Meng Yao paused. What do you mean? Ugh. In other words, your Uncle Chu's only child, right? Pin Liang explained. Chapter 537. Chapter 537. Someone similar to you? Oh, Yao Yao sis, I got it. Yushu spoke up suddenly. Liangzi realized that he couldn't get you, so he turned his attention to your sister. Meng Yao was taken aback by Yushu's words. Was that really what Pin Liang meant? So he looked at Pin Liang confused. Pin Liang was stunned by Yushu's words. He didn't think that Yushu would be able to come up with such an excuse. He coughed dryly and explained, I didn't mean it that way. Oh, did he find out that Shield Bro is Uncle Chu's illegitimate son? Yushu asked curiously. Shu, don't talk nonsense. Ming Yao's heart tightened when she heard Yushu mention Shield Bro. She glared at her. How could she let Pin Liang know about this? Yushu stuck her tongue out. I'm just joking, Shield Bro. What's that? Pin Liang was confused. What were these two girls talking about? Nothing, just say it. Meng Yao clearly didn't want to explain. Pin Liang didn't want to talk anymore. Who cared about Shield Bro? He needed to focus on his own matters first. He said, What I mean is, Meng Yao, do you have any sisters or anything like that? Sisters? Meng Yao blinked. What sisters? My sister is Yushu. I'm not talking about sisters. I'm talking about Uncle Chu. Do you have any other daughters? Pin Liang asked carefully. Other daughters? Pin Liang, what are you trying to say? Why are you stuttering? Can't you just say it all at once? Meng Yao was a little angry. What was this guy trying to say? Was he trying to say that her father had an illegitimate son or daughter outside? Hey, Meng Yao, I might have seen wrongly. It's fine, it's fine. Pin Liang waved his hand and was about to leave when he added, How can there be such similar people in this world? Meng Yao wasn't interested in Pin Liang's words at first. She didn't want to call him back, but the second half of his sentence caught her by surprise. Pin Liang, what do you mean by like? She called out. Pin Liang, what do you mean? Is there anyone like me? That's right. Last night, I went to the Shuangyan Mountain Resort with my father. When I was climbing the mountain, I saw a woman who looked very similar to you. I should say, you're practically carved from the same mold. I thought it was you, so I called out your name. Pin Liang said, pleased that he'd gotten Ming Yao's attention. The woman's body shook, and she turned around to look at me before leaving in a hurry. What? Does he really look like me? Ming Yao's breathing quickened as she stared fixedly at Pin Liang. Yeah, but I took a closer look at her after she turned around. She's a little older than you. Pin Liang shook his head. I thought she was your sister or something. Why would she turn around if I called Meng Yao? Then did she say anything? Meng Yao asked, panicking. She didn't say anything. She glanced at me and left quickly. Pin Liang shook his head. I was curious, so I followed, but I lost track of them, Meng Yao gasped, her eyes staring blankly at something. She stood beside her seat, deep in thought. Mom? It must be her mom. A voice called out in Meng Yao's heart, making her heart beat faster. How could there be someone so similar in this world? So, that person must be her mom. Meng Yao had seen her mom's photo when she was young, and she looked exactly like her. In fact, she hadn't inherited Peng Zhan's genes in terms of looks. She'd inherited her mom's excellent looks. So, when Pin Liang mentioned this person, Meng Yao's first thought was that he'd seen her mom. Pin Liang knew that his plan had worked when he saw Meng Yao's expression. He'd been chasing Meng Yao for 3 years. How could he not know about Meng Yao's family background? He knew that Meng Yao's mother had a conflict with Peng Zhan when Meng Yao was young, and she left home. He hadn't heard from her all these years. It was impossible to say that Meng Yao didn't miss her mom. Pin Liang had grasped Meng Yao's psychological weakness, baiting her step by step. Now, It seemed like he'd succeeded halfway. Since you don't have a sister, then I must be mistaken. Forget it. Pretend I didn't say anything. Pin Liang shook his head and walked out of the classroom, counting silently as he walked. 1, 2, 3, wait. Pin Liang heard Meng Yao's voice from behind. Pin Liang's lips curled into a smile. He didn't believe that Meng Yao wouldn't take the bait. Meng Yao, is there anything else? Pin Liang turned around, a fawning look on his face. Are you going to give me a chance to chase you? Stop it. Meng Yao frowned. I won't talk to you anymore if you keep this up. No, I'll talk nicely then. Meng Yao, why are you looking for me? Pin Liang said that on purpose. His goal was to make Meng Yao think that he didn't care about the girl who looked like him anymore. Instead, he cared about how to chase her. That way, she wouldn't be suspicious. Let me ask you, did you really see a girl who looked like me at Mount Xuanyan? Meng Yao asked. Yeah, but she's older than you. Naturally, I won't be interested. Pin Liang said confidently. Meng Yao, don't worry. You're irreplaceable in my heart. She only looks like you. I won't fall in love with someone else. Who's asking you that? Meng Yao wasn't happy. Pin Yang, don't say useless things. I'm asking you, where did you see her? Where is it? That's hard to say. It's a big mountain. I might be able to find it if I go. It's hard to explain. Pin Liang scratched his head, troubled. Bring me there. Meng Yao couldn't care less. She missed her mother for so many years. At this moment, she couldn't care less about going to school. She didn't think about whether Pin Liang was telling the truth or not. She only had one thought in her mind. That was to see her mother as soon as possible. Now, it's pretty late, and school hasn't ended yet. Pin Liang said awkwardly, why don't we find a place to eat first? We'll talk about the mountain later. Chapter 538. Chapter 538. Destroying Family Harmony. Sigh. Since you said so, how can I not? Pin Liang seemed disappointed, but the more he acted like this, the less suspicious Meng Yao was. Then let's go. Meng Yao was anxious, afraid that her mother would go somewhere else if she was late. All these years, Meng Yao had been thinking about her mother all the time. She never said it out loud, but under her tough exterior, there was a deep longing for her mother. She was a 19-year-old girl after all. No matter how mature she pretended to be and how big sister she acted in front of Yushu, she still couldn't suppress her desire for family. Should she tell her father? Meng Yao shook her head. All these years, her father had never mentioned her mother in front of her. It was as if he had forgotten about her, focusing all his attention on the company. This made Meng Yao a little unhappy, but she couldn't do anything about it. After all, her father was equally important to her. She didn't know why her father and mother fought, and she didn't know why her mother left home for so many years. But Meng Yao thought that if she could see her mother first and persuade her to stay, her father wouldn't be a problem. She might even be able to give him a surprise. Thinking of this, Meng Yao decided to see her mother in private. She had completely believed Pin Liang's words, treating that person as her mother. All right. Pin Liang nodded helplessly and shouted to Xiaofu. Xiaofu, come here. What's the matter, Liang bro? Xiaofu walked over confused. He had to admit that his acting skills were quite good. It seemed like he had rehearsed many times. Come with me and Meng Yao to Mount Xuanyan. Pin Liang ordered. Why are we going to Mount Xuanyan for? Xiaofu was surprised. Why are you asking so many questions? Are you coming? Pin Liang obviously didn't want to explain. Oh, let's go. Xiaofu stopped asking. Meng Yao didn't think that it was inappropriate for Pin Liang to bring Xiaofu out. He was Pin Liang's henchman, after all. It was normal for him to bring him out. Pin Yang and Xiaofu walked in front while Meng Yao and Yushu walked behind. The four of them went down the stairs and walked out of the school gate. Sister Yao Yao, what's going on? Why do you want to go to Xuanyan Mountain? Also, who's that girl who looks like you? Yushu asked curiously as they walked. Don't ask so many questions, just follow them. Meng Yao couldn't explain it in a few words, and it was hard to tell if her mother was still there. Oh, but I don't think it's appropriate for us two girls to go to the wilderness with Pin Yang. Should we tell Shield bro? Yushu asked, seeing that it was getting late. Just admit it if you want to talk to Lin Yi. There's no need for all these excuses. Meng Yao said mercilessly, seeing through Yushu's thoughts. You miss him, don't you? Oh, I thought Yao Yao missed me. Yushu blinked. Should we call then? Suit yourself. Meng Yao humphed, but then she thought that Shu might be doing the right thing. She should tell Lin Yi about her whereabouts. What if she got into an accident in the middle of nowhere? Yushu did miss Lin Yi a little, but she couldn't explain why. She was just used to living with Lin Yi. She wasn't used to missing someone all of a sudden. Poor little wife, always acting as the big wife's mouthpiece. Yushu took out her phone and mumbled to herself. What did you say? Meng Yao almost tripped. What big wife, little wife? You're the big wife. I'm the little wife. Yushu wasn't afraid at all. You damn Shu. Do you want to have your tongue pulled out? Who's Lin Yi's big wife? Meng Yao glared at Yushu. Oh, Yao Yao really likes Shield Bro. Yushu raised her hands in joy. I only said big wife and little wife. I didn't say Shield Bros. I'm so pissed. Meng Yao knew that she was tricked by Yushu. The girl had been leading her step by step, but she really didn't say who the big wife and little wife were. The big wife and little wife thing seemed to be something the two of them had agreed on before, and it didn't specifically say who the husband was. She'd been tricked. She'd been tricked. Meng Yao glared at Yushu. Open your mouth. Yushu shook her head with a smile. Why? Meng Yao thought. Did this dumb girl learn to be smart? Did she know that she was going to tear her mouth off? I'm not dumb, opening my mouth and having my tongue pulled out. Yushu screamed before she could finish. No, it hurts. It hurts. Meng Yao took the opportunity to tear Yushu's mouth. A dumb girl is still a dumb girl. Only a silly girl will be liked by others. Yushu covered her mouth and mumbled. Yao Yao, you're too bad. You won't be loved in the future. What do you mean? Meng Yao asked. You bully the little wife and ruin the harmony of the family. In ancient times, you'd be an unloved queen. Yushu said, you don't want your mouth anymore, do you? Meng Yao threatened. Oh. Yushu stopped talking and took out her phone to make a call, but Xiaofu was already in a taxi. She couldn't make the call. Meng Yao, Shu, get in. Pinliang waved at Meng Yao and Yushu after seeing that Xiaofu had flagged down a taxi. Xiaofu hailed a 7-seater Touran cab, and Meng Yao and Yushu, on the other hand, sat in the third row since they were small. Pinliang, on the other hand, had no choice but to sit in the second row with Xiaofu. Pinliang was so pissed that he wanted to kick Xiaofu to death. Didn't you look carefully when you flagged down a taxi? You should have flagged down a 5-seater Jetta. What were you trying to do with a 7-seater car? Pinliang had wanted to sit with Meng Yao in the back seat. It was a 5-seater car, so there had to be 3 people in the back seat. He thought he could get intimate with Meng Yao, but it was all over now. But Meng Yao was sitting in the back seat, and Pinliang couldn't get angry. He could only hold it in. In the car, Yushu sent a message to Lin Yi, telling him that she and Yao Yao were going to Mount Shuangyan with Pinliang and Xiaofu. Chapter 539. The plan went smoothly. The car stopped at the foot of Mount Shuangyan. It was a rugged mountain road, so the taxi could only go there. Sir, you can only walk to the resort up there. My car can't go up there. It's a staircase. The taxi driver didn't know that Pinliang had never been to this place before, so he explained to them. I know. Pinliang paid the driver. Obviously, the driver thought that they were students who came to the resort. Now that the living conditions were better, it wasn't strange for young men and women to go to the resort together. So, the driver didn't suspect anything and left after taking the money. There's a resort up there. Meng Yao had never been here before. There was no need for her and Yushu to go to a resort. There was no point in going to a resort with so few people. Yes, I came to this resort with my dad last night. Pinliang said proudly. He really did come last night with his old man, and it was Sihua's treat, along with Jing Gubong and a young man called Master Bing. Sihua was the one who'd invited him. This gave Pinliang a lot of knowledge and made him bolder. With Pinliang's background, he was a little hesitant to make a move. The cave and the plan had been prepared long ago, but Pinliang couldn't do it because he was afraid of Peng Zhan's background. But after what happened yesterday, Pin Liang got to know Sihua and Master Bing. Master Bing was someone with a big background. Even Sihua was respectful to him, and Pin Liang's father worked for Master Bing and Sihua. Would House Zhong have to worry about not being rich in the future? So, Pin Liang couldn't wait to carry out his kidnapping plan today. Meng Yao nodded. She wasn't interested in the resort. She was focused on finding her mother. Pin Liang, bring me to the person who looks like me. I can't say if I can find her or not. Pin Liang said. Meng Yao, don't blame me if you can't find her. Why are you talking so much? Hurry up. Meng Yao said impatiently. Pin Liang snickered inwardly, but maintained his composure as he led Meng Yao and Yushu up the mountain. The sky was already dark, but there were quite a lot of people at the foot of the mountain since the resort was located halfway up the mountain. This gave Meng Yao and Yushu a sense of security, even though they didn't know it. With so many people here, nothing would happen. If there wasn't a single person around, Meng Yao would be hesitant to follow Pin Liang up the mountain. Although the mountain road was rugged, it was not shaky. The four of them were all young people, so it did not take much effort for them to reach the resort halfway up the mountain. Meng Yao, are you tired? Why don't we get something to eat at the resort first? Pin Liang asked. Eat what? I'm not hungry. Take me there. Meng Yao wasn't in the mood to eat. All right, let's go then. Pin Liang nodded unwillingly and continued up the mountain road. If it were in the day, there would be a lot of people going up the mountain to take pictures and sightsee, but the sky was dark. Naturally, no one went up the mountain. In the blink of an eye, the crowd was gone, and only Pin Liang, Xiaofu, Meng Yao, and Yushu were left on the small path. That person was here yesterday? Meng Yao was suspicious. Even if Pin Liang met her mother, what was her mother doing here? Yeah, I followed her here from the resort. I thought it was you, but then I realized it wasn't. Pin Liang nodded. What do you think she's doing here in the middle of the night? Pin Liang's question dispelled Meng Yao's suspicions. She had to admit that Pin Liang had some brains. He wasn't an idiot, and this plan was executed after careful planning. And so, Meng Yao didn't say anything else. She followed Pin Liang up the mountain, and after a few hundred meters, Pin Liang suddenly turned and walked toward a small fork in the road. There were no stone steps on the fork, and it was a dirt road. Meng Yao couldn't help but ask, why are you on a small road again? Chapter 540. A big discovery outside the cave. Meng Yao looked towards the direction of the cave anxiously. She didn't know how Pin Liang and Gao Xiaofu were doing. Why wasn't there any movement? Shoo, why do I have a weird feeling? Meng Yao frowned. She felt that something was wrong, but she couldn't put her finger on it. In short, Pin Liang was acting weird today. I've always been curious. Yao Yao sis, why did you bring me here? It's not fun at all. Yushu scratched her head and frowned. Yao Yao sis, you're not thinking of having sex with Pin Liang, are you? Shut up. How is that possible? Meng Yao hit Yushu fiercely. Do that with him. You might as well kill me. Oh, then who do you want to do it with? Yushu asked. I want my ass. I don't want to. Meng Yao almost fell for Yushu's trick. She raged. Shu, what are you thinking about? Are you thinking of doing it? I'm just curious. I don't really want to do it. Yushu wasn't embarrassed at all. Instead, she was curious. Then you wait for Lin Yi to come back and try it with him. Meng Yao said angrily. What about you? Yushu asked. What about me? Meng Yao was pissed off. Why did her best friend always bring up this kind of stuff? Was it because of the hormones in her puberty? Are you going to try it? Yushu ignored Meng Yao's anger and continued. I'll try it with you. Meng Yao was furious. Oh, I know. Yao Yao sis, you really like me. No wonder you get jealous whenever I mention Shield Bro. You're gay. Yushu said. Meng Yao didn't want to say anything else. She knew that Yushu was joking. It didn't matter if she explained or not. The more she explained, the angrier she would get. After a while, Xiaofu felt that the incense in the cave was almost there. He nodded. Pin Liang walked to the entrance of the cave and called out to Meng Yao and Yushu. Meng Yao, big discovery, big discovery. Meng Yao raised her head and took a deep breath, suppressing her anger at Yushu. What discovery? You'll know when you come over. There's a door in the cave. Pin Liang yelled. That's weird. Oh. Meng Yao blinked. Why was there a door in the cave? Pulling Yushu along. He quickened his steps towards the cave. He looked in the direction of Pin Liang's flashlight and saw a security door. There's a door here? Is there really a door here? What was going on? Someone lives there? I don't know. We've studied it for a long time, but we still don't know what's going on. Pin Liang said worriedly. Why don't we call it a day? This place feels weird. Go knock on the door. How could Meng Yao give up just like that? Especially when she saw the door. It meant that someone was living here. The first possibility Meng Yao thought of was that her mother was living in seclusion here. Although it was a little strange, her impulsiveness had overtaken her rationality. Pin Liang could only nod. Since the beauty has a request, I'll give it my all. Sigh, but don't blame me if anything happens. We've been through thick and thin together. Why are you talking so much? Hurry up. Meng Yao was worried. Pin Liang was taking his time, but she felt dizzy. She didn't know what was going on. Pin Liang walked over and knocked on the door. Meng Yao's head was getting dizzier and dizzier. Her eyelids were starting to give out, and she was about to fall asleep. Shoo, I'm so sleepy. Me too, Yao Yao, I want to sleep, Yushu said as she fell into Meng Yao's arms. Meng Yao, on the other hand, fell to the ground after being pushed by Yushu. Pin Liang was overjoyed. It seemed like the incense was working, but he wasn't in a rush. What if the two woke up? After a while, Xiaofu spoke up after seeing that the two weren't moving. Liang bro, it's fine now. The owner said that they won't wake up for at least 10 hours. That's good. Get them into the house. Pin Liang pointed at the door. You go open the door. Okay. Xiaofu took out the key and opened the door. Pin Liang and Meng Yao hurriedly got Yushu and Meng Yao into the room. Pin Liang and Xiaofu heard that the incense was powerful, but they hadn't used it before. They didn't have any experience, so they didn't dare make too much noise. They were very careful, afraid that they'd wake Meng Yao and Yushu up. After everything was done, Pin Liang shook his head regretfully. It'd be great if I could touch Meng Yao's body, but he didn't dare to. He was afraid that he'd wake Meng Yao up. Yeah, leave Yushu to me. I like her. Xiaofu was drooling as well. If you want to die, you can touch her, Pin Liang said coldly. I wouldn't even bother with her if I had a choice. Her background isn't something we can mess with. Xiaofu couldn't help but shiver. He'd been blinded by his lust, but Pin Liang's reminder reminded him of Yushu's brother's glorious past. He quickly put away his unrealistic thoughts. Haha, I was just saying. Xiaofu laughed dryly. He knew that these two weren't the school beauties he could touch. He wanted to find a school beauty as his girlfriend, but other than these two, he couldn't touch anyone else. Tang Yun was the school beauty as well, but with a master like Linny around, who would dare touch her? The new transfer, Xiao Xiao, was even more so. Xiaofu didn't dare touch her either. Xiaofu was a little dejected. This was his fate. He wasn't fated to be the school beauty. Keep these two phones. Pin Liang handed the two phones to Xiaofu. Liang bro, you keep them for yourself. I don't dare take them. Xiaofu was very careful after the scolding, afraid that he'd get dragged into it. Coward. Pin Liang humphed, not caring at all. He put the phone in his pocket. Let's go. Okay. Xiaofu didn't want to stay here any longer. He followed Pin Liang out. Chapter 541. Chapter 541, Secrets in the Phone. Liang bro, it's fine. Didn't we already have a plan? Xiaofu could tell that Pin Liang was nervous. If Pengzhan accepts you, Liang bro, then everything will be fine. If he doesn't accept it, we'll just let Meng Yao go. Meng Yao doesn't know that we set this up anyways, and we'll just say that the cave owners set us up together. She doesn't have any proof, and she'll even thank us for saving her. Who knows? Maybe we'll be the hero that saves the damsel in distress, and Meng Yao will fall for us. Pin Liang nodded. This was also the main reason why he used the incense instead of force. Even if things didn't work out and Meng Yao asked him about it later, he could always push the blame away and say that he'd fainted from the incense as well, but they'd only captured the two of them, leaving him and Xiaofu at the foot of the mountain. Although this would arouse Meng Yao and Peng Zhan's suspicions, it was just a suspicion. They wouldn't be able to do anything to him without any proof. This was also one of the reasons why Pin Liang wasn't afraid. If Peng Zhan didn't agree to his relationship with Meng Yao, then he could just let Meng Yao go. He wouldn't be able to do anything to Meng Yao then. He believed that Peng Zhan wouldn't hold this matter against him. Pin Liang had Xiaofu hail a taxi after they got down the mountain, and the two made their way back to school quickly. As for Meng Yao, he'd have to wait until Uncle Fu came to pick up Meng Yao and Yushu after school. He'd only be able to meet up with Peng Zhan then. During this self-study session at night, Pin Liang and Xiaofu acted as if nothing had happened. It was as if Meng Yao and Yushu's disappearance had nothing to do with them. In fact, no one dared to ask about the whereabouts of the two young ladies. Since the two of them had left, the teacher had turned a blind eye to it. Pin Liang was bored and wanted to see if there were any private pictures in Meng Yao's phone. It would be best if there were naked pictures. That way, Pin Liang could look at the pictures and fantasize about it. Unfortunately, Meng Yao evidently didn't like selfies. There were only a couple of pictures of Yushu in the album, and nothing else worth imagining. Pin Liang pressed the power off button, deciding to put the phone back into Meng Yao's backpack. He couldn't explain himself if he had it in his hands. As for Yushu's phone, Pin Liang didn't want to look at it. He didn't want to, nor did he dare. What if he saw something bad and Yushu found out? The girl wouldn't let him off the hook. Who knew if Sihua Bro and masturbating would be able to mess with Yushu? But it didn't take long before Pin Liang's heart started itching again. He remembered that Yushu's photo was in Meng Yao's phone. Could Yushu have Meng Yao's photo in her phone? The two of them might even take photos of each other. With that in mind, Pin Liang pulled out Yushu's phone, turned it on, and opened the photo album. Quack. Pin Liang's eyes widened as the person in Yushu's photo album was none other than Lin Yi. This surprised Pin Liang. Why would Yushu have Lin Yi's photo in her phone? He flipped through it, and there were photos of Lin Yi in school, and there were photos of Lin Yi roasting the shark. There were many more similar photos. Pin Liang was speechless. This girl couldn't have fallen for Lin Yi, could she? But thinking about Yushu's personality, it was possible. But there was an 80% chance that it was just a crush. He couldn't see any relationship between Lin Yi and Yushu normally. Pin Liang let out a sigh of relief. If he let Lin Yi and Yushu get together, he'd be in deep trouble. The more he looked, the more depressed he got. He turned off Yushu's phone and shook his head. He didn't expect this at all. Did Meng Yao know about Yushu's crush on Lin Yi? But it wasn't his business. Pin Liang didn't have the time to care about stuff like this, especially when it involved Lin Yi. He didn't want to care about it. What if he got himself into trouble again? When school was finally over, Pin Liang stuffed Meng Yao and Yushu's phones back into their bags and walked out of the school alone. He didn't bring Xiaofu with him this time. There was no need. It'd be troublesome if Xiaofu got involved. Faubert's Bentley had been parked at the alley in front of the school for the past 3 years. Pin Liang remembered it very clearly. He found Faubert's Bentley easily. Pin Liang took a deep breath to calm himself down before knocking on the window. "What's up?" Faubert knew Pin Liang, as well as that he was the nephew of the company's previous shareholder, Jin Gubong. He was also Meng Yao's admirer. "Faubert, take me to Uncle Chu." Pin Liang ordered Faubert with an unquestionable tone. With that, he opened the passenger door and got in the car. "Oh, you want to see Mr. Chu?" Faubert frowned. He didn't expect Pin Liang to be this impolite, getting in the car directly. Even if Jin Gubong was a shareholder of the company, he didn't have the right to do this, did he? Not to mention that Jin Gubong wasn't. Faubert's sharp senses told him that something was amiss. If Pin Liang wasn't out of his mind, then he had something to rely on, so Faubert didn't chase him away right away. He wanted to know more about Pin Liang first. "That's right. This happened so suddenly. I have to talk to Uncle Chu face to face," Pin Liang said fearlessly. "Oh, then we'll wait for Yao Yao. You come with us." Faubert didn't say anything else after seeing how confident Pin Liang was. As for what he wanted to do, that was Mr. Chu's business. Faubert didn't have a right to ask. No need to wait. Yao Yao's at my house. Pin Liang said proudly. She's my girlfriend from now on. The most important thing for you now is to bring me to Uncle Chu. I need to talk to him about me and Yao Yao. Faubert paused. He looked at Pin Liang in disbelief. He started to suspect that Meng Yao had become Pin Liang's girlfriend. This was impossible in Faubert's eyes. Faubert took out his phone and dialed Meng Yao's number. However, her phone was turned off. He dialed Yushu's number again. It was the same. Faubert put down his phone and said, "Since you want to see Mr. Chu, then let's go." Chapter 542. Live-in son-in-law Faubert, naturally, didn't believe Pin Liang's words. From Faubert's point of view, Pin Liang was most likely making things up. His relationship with Meng Yao couldn't possibly be, as he said. But Meng Yao's phone was switched off, and Yushu couldn't be contacted. Pin Liang was the key person, and he had to control him. And so, Faubert quietly started the car and said to Pin Liang, "Mr. Chu is still in the company, but I need to make a call to confirm." "No problem, go ahead." Pin Liang was sure that Faubert couldn't do anything to him, so he didn't care. So what if he notified Pingzhan in advance? He would see Pingzhan sooner or later anyway. Faubert nodded and dialed Pingzhan's number. Pingzhan's life had been smooth sailing for the past few days. Without Jin Gubong and Xie Guangbua, the company's second-largest shareholder, Lin Yi, had given Pingzhan full authority to make all the decisions. Whether it was the board of directors or the shareholders' meeting, everything had become Pingzhan's. No small shareholder dared to jump out and go against Pingzhan. After all, Jin Gubong and Xie Guangbua's fate was clear for all to see. No one wanted to be the next target. Pingzhan was in the middle of a shareholders' meeting, and no one dared to turn on their phones. Of course, Pingzhan himself was the only exception. No one dared to say anything. Pingzhan looked at the caller ID and picked up the phone. "Li Fu, what's up? I'm in the middle of a shareholders' meeting." "Mr. Chu, Mr. Zhong Pin Liang wants to see you." Faubert cut to the chase. "Miss should be in his hands." "What? Yao Yao is in Pin Liang's hands?" Pingzhan was stunned. He didn't expect Pin Liang to be so daring as to kidnap Meng Yao. Pingzhan had gotten used to his authority recently, and now that someone dared to kidnap his daughter, he was enraged. Faubert wanted to explain, but Pin Liang grabbed the phone from him. "Give me the phone. I'll talk to Uncle Chu." Faubert didn't insist and passed the phone to Pin Liang. In truth, Faubert didn't know what Pin Liang did to Meng Yao. "Uncle Chu, I'm Zhong Pin Liang." Pin Liang accepted the phone politely, trying to make his tone as respectful as possible. As far as he was concerned, Pingzhan was going to be his father-in-law soon. "Pin Liang, where's Yao Yao?" Pingzhan wasn't in the mood for small talk. His tone was cold. "Uncle Chu, Yao Yao has agreed to be my girlfriend. We just confirmed our relationship today. She is resting in my house now." Pin Liang said, "I was thinking about discussing our engagement with Uncle Chu. Yao Yao agreed to be your girlfriend?" Pingzhan frowned. "Come in my company now." Pingzhan didn't express his suspicions. Some things couldn't be explained over the phone. He needed to see Pin Liang first. He still hadn't figured out what Pin Liang was trying to do. "Okay, I'll be there now." Pin Liang saw that Pingzhan didn't suspect him right away, instead asking him to talk to the company. He thought that Pingzhan believed him and was overjoyed. He hung up and ordered Li Fu. "Did you hear that? Uncle Chu wants you to bring me to the company." "Okay." Faubert didn't say anything else. He put away his phone and turned the car towards Pingzhan Industries. Pin Liang was in a very good mood as he looked at Pingzhan's skyscraper. He was about to become Pingzhan's son-in-law, and Pingzhan didn't have a son. Did this mean that the family business would be his from now on? With that in mind, Pin Liang started calculating in his heart. When he saw Pingzhan later, he'd do whatever it took to convince him to accept him as a son-in-law. Pingzhan was in the middle of a meeting when he heard that something had happened to his daughter. He ended the meeting quickly and returned to his office. In fact, Pengzhan didn't really believe Pinliang's words. His daughter would have fallen for Pinliang a long time ago if she could. She wouldn't have waited until now. Pinliang's claim that Meng Yao had agreed to be his girlfriend was complete bullshit. But Pengzhan was puzzled. Why would Faubert be messing around with Pinliang? There could only be one reason. His daughter was missing. Faubert must have gone to pick up his daughter from school. He must have waited for Pinliang because he didn't get his daughter. With that in mind, Pengzhan gave Meng Yao and Yushu a call, confirming his suspicions after hearing that their phones had been turned off. Pengzhan was calmer than usual after the company's turmoil, and as anxious as he was, he didn't let it show on his face. He sat quietly in front of his desk, waiting for Pinliang to show up. After about half an hour, Faubert brought Pinliang to Pengzhan's office. "Hello, Uncle Chu." Pinliang bowed to Pengzhan as if he was a son-in-law visiting his home. "Pinliang, have a seat." Pengzhan gestured for Pinliang to sit. He then turned to Faubert. "Pour some tea." "How can I trouble Faubert? I'll do it myself." Pinliang was overjoyed. Was Pengzhan accepting him? Otherwise, what kind of status did Fubo have? How could he let him pour tea for him personally? Pinliang knew about Faubert's identity through his uncle. He was a man of authority in the company. He might only be a driver, but he was Pengzhan's confidant. Normal employees wouldn't dare let Faubert pour tea for them. Faubert only worked for Pengzhan and Meng Yao. Now that Pengzhan was letting Faubert pour tea for him, did that mean that he was accepted by Pengzhan as his son-in-law? Pinliang thought excitedly. He hadn't even said anything yet, and Pengzhan believed him already? "You kidnapped my daughter?" Pengzhan's cold voice rang out in his head. "Wah." Pinliang was just about to take the cup of tea from Uncle Fu when he jumped in fright, dropping the teacup in his hand onto the floor, shattering into pieces. "Uncle Chu, don't say that. How could I possibly do something illegal like that?" "That you're tuning in to the Romance Rendezvous YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.